33 vertebra, up the spinal curvature to the pineal merkaba that spins in my head and spread off the tongue and rhyme skills onto a vinyl circular. Became instant lords on liquid swords, the Bible determiner, the idol interpreter, the cycle of eartheners. I am Lord your God for worshipers. Merkaba. I ran out of room, I'm leaving the womb. I feel like I'm dying, I'm crying. Am I being pushed to my doom? I'm fading into life, draining from her waters, swimming, naming him Walter. Now I'm bathing in her light. I altered on the altar, the day walker, flaming into the night like fireworks that's vibrating 528 hertz. It's raining, the vibranium is ultra bright. Above my cranium, stars are shooting over. Nibiru exposure, meteor showers, supernovas. The meeting I supposed to write. Walking through the fire that was cold as ice. Poltergeist, took a glimpse into infinity. Saw a blimp that flashed my memories. The airport was empty. A rare quartz Da Vinci. My pen leads symphonies. You'll all perceive eventually the orchestra of the August love in the orbits as a foreigner from the corners. Now she's in the forest with doves. Near lakeside, the waters with suds. Are you able to withstand quicksand on a remote island in the Bermuda Triangle during Mercury retrograde? But I'm verbally electro waves that echoes for days. Age, 1 foot in the threshold and 1 foot in the grave. Peaceful, I settle over the metal like sage. God switchblade for any witch or devil I made. I carve them up in 7 ways. The carbon dust, fluorescent rays. Placed them in a garden plush after 7 days of parsing.
Blood and flesh is always so expensive, but when you sacrifice the body, you can get this. Consciousness expanse is exponential, while your union is internal and intensive. Butterfly effect is so connected. You see that I'm a wreck, are you affected? Your energy is here, you're so detected. Your body's gone, it hurts, but I accept it. Bow to all the angels of the sky, and I bow to that one spirit by my side. I bow to the unfathomable Most High. Now if I speak the name, I'd be a lie. Think of all the ones they say moved on. I'd be a fool to think that they are gone. Should be a rule for us to say that they live on. Think it's rude for us to ignore them when they call. Thought I saw you in a shadow on the wall. Is that you? I see you standing down the hall. If I could turn back time, I would and make it stall. Help me focus, hold me up, don't let me fall. You are with me. You are with me. Couldn't leave you if I wanted to. Can't you see I wanna stay with you? You are with me. You are with me. Couldn't leave you if I wanted to. Can't you see I wanna stay with you? You are with me. You are with me. Baby, I wanna stay with you. Baby, I wanna stay with you. You are with me. You stay with me. Couldn't leave you if I wanted to. Eternally, I'm gonna stay with you. I'm gonna stay with you. Stay with you. 'Cause you are with me. You stay with me. The angels in the sky. The angel by my side. You are with me. Peace, assalamu alaikum, hotep, namaste, jambo, ashe, shalom, shalom.
All the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light. You're going to really need to be one of the darkest minds of the light when we get into these type of conversations. And you're going to also need to hit that like button, subscribe, share this video. If you are listening to me on the Rise channel, Reality is Simulated Existence, Napashada on the Rise, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And then go over to the other channels in the network. If you're on the HOK Coliseum, do that. I wanted to talk to you about, we got to talk, family. I like to say family. That way, soften the blow. You are family. We have to talk, though, because a lot of people are confused, and that's okay. We need to talk about what is the difference between physics, the actual science of physics, and metaphysics, the actual philosophical field of metaphysics. Okay, let's do that. So, how do we do this? We'll start off very, very basic. I did put Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine in the title and on the thumbnail because they are teachers of the metaphysical. They're philosophers. They are now I'm taking this very, very basic and baby steps. I'm not diving deep yet. Okay, we're on the surface still. We're just walking on the shore, sand between our toes. Okay, we're not in the water yet, y'all. Bobby Hemmett, great teacher. Phil Valentine, these teachers, great teachers, right? They're metaphysical teachers. They are philosophers. And that doesn't take away from who they are. That's great. Being a philosopher is amazing. We're talking about philosophy versus mainstream science. Okay? Physics and metaphysics, and I'm reading, this is just a quick entry into Google, but we're going to hit some articles. I'm going to get a Stanford Encyclopedia Philosophy article. We're going to go a little deeper. Okay, so let me get this. So off rip from the top, physics and metaphysics are two distinct fields. Physics is a natural science that studies matter, energy, and their interactions through empirical evidence. There's that word empirical. And then that other word, together that phrase empirical evidence lets you know it's mainstream academia, mainstream university, okay? Not University of Metaphysical Science, but mainstream academia. By the way, metaphysical science is merging, it's coming back around and merging, coming together again. Philosophy and physics, metaphysics, aka philosophy, is coming back around with physics, and they're coming together again. When I say again, we had to separate it because we had to, thresh some things out. We have to find out, wait, hold on. You guys, everybody's getting crazy here. We got to figure out what is science, meaning physics, empirical evidence, and what is metaphysics, meaning philosophy. Get it? Because I'm getting to this community, especially the consciousness, the Black consciousness community. Consciousness across the board, but the Black consciousness community, I need to talk to you because I'm the number one metaphysicist. You know that, but I'm not going to just act like that physics is not important and that we don't need to have a strong grasp on physics and empirical evidential science. Evidence, empirical evidence, right? So physics is a natural science that studies matter, energy, their interactions through empirical evidence and observation. That's a known thing. Everybody knows that. We if you've gone to school and you've taken a course in physics, you've done any type of anything, you know this is physics, right? No problem. Metaphysics, on the other hand, is a branch of philosophy. See that? That explores the fundamental nature of reality. Oh, that's the fun part. And we all want to do that. We love sitting back and, yeah, let's talk about this. This is deep, right? Darkest minds of the light. Metaphysics, the fundamental nature of reality, including concepts like existence, objects, properties, causation, consciousness. We love talking about that. But what I notice in the community is a lot of people don't want to do the research. They don't want to take the, par for the course on the physics, the science that is based on empirical evidence. That's too much for them. You see? Because that holds them accountable, and you have to know what you're talking about. It's easy for people to prove you wrong when you speak about physics and empirical evidence. It's easy. It's not so easy for someone to prove you wrong when you're talking on a metaphysical level. And that's neither here nor there. I'm not accusing, I'm just stating facts. And I want you to understand that in our community, we have to do both. We have to study physics. We can't discount empirical evidence. We can't discount mainstream, conventional academia, mainstream natural science. Otherwise, we're only working with a tank that's half full. We're not driving, we're not taking the road trip that is very important. We got to get there. We got to fill our tank up. What am I saying? If you want to talk about nature and reality, if you want to speak about things like the whys of who we are, how did we get here? Wouldn't you want to be fully, at least on a freshman level, wouldn't you want to have a grasp of physics? I would think you would. Let me finish reading this. While physics focuses on the physical world, and I will say that there's a physical world and a metaphysical world, of course, metaphysics delves into abstract concepts that go beyond the physical realm. Historically, and that, by the way, isn't just pseudo. When you say it's beyond the physical realm, a thought is not pseudo. We know that we have thought. See, this is where I said it's exciting. I get so excited. Mainstream, natural study of science, empirical evidence science, university, academia is coming together again with philosophical studies and metaphysical studies, because it is not denied at all by mainstream science that consciousness is real. It is not denied at all that thought is real. It is not denied in mainstream observable science that we have a mind. So what happens? Mainstream science says, okay, now we're ready. We're ready. We've established it. We've established the study of natural science, of matter and energy and all that. We're ready now because there's some things we cannot answer with just physics There's things we cannot answer with quantum physics. There are questions within quantum physics that start to push us into taking a look at metaphysics. You see? And now we can say, we can rip that mask off of metaphysics, that spookiness mask off of metaphysics, and say, oh, so it's okay, I got you. Because when I start to study, when I become philosophical and I start studying the whys of to be or not to be, this is the question. You know, that's Shakespeare. So if you start doing that, then you say, okay, now I've got both. I've got a grasp of natural science, and now I can kick back and watch me really ride to the end because I've got a full tank, and now I'm really going to get into the whys of who we are. Why do we exist? Because I can think of consciousness in a way that's natural, with natural things that we observe, and then I can go into, oh, okay, but I can start asking questions about the mind when I talk about the brain and consciousness. I can see that things that I know in physics, or I should say in mainstream science, because when we talk about the brain, things that I know in neurology, I can start looking at, oh, so the brain functions this way. Is that why we remember and we have logic? See, watch this right here. Watch what I do watch me do this, because I have a grasp on mainstream science. I have just a freshman grasp, and I say that very humbly, of neurology. So I say prefrontal cortex. That's mainstream science. Oh, okay. Watch me switch right into my metaphysical, everybody. Oh, the front of the brain. Okay, the forehead, third eye. Get it? The eye, and that's why in all the spiritual ancient writing, you see the eye is in the center of the forehead. Oh, the logic, the reading. See, I did that. But how can I just talk about metaphysics and not not want to know about physics? How can I talk about the third eye, the pineal gland, and not know about just the biology, not even know the structure of the brain? How can I do that? If we're saying that we're reaching the higher heights, we need to reach them correctly. What I'm getting at is, we're in a community where people put the metaphysics out there, and that's great, and I love it. Like I said, I when they start calling me pseudo, I wear that with as a badge of honor. I don't care, because I know who I am. I know that I am scientific. I know that I can look into real history. I know that I can research, archaeology and anthropology. When I want to find out about people, I can go to mainstream observable empirical evidence in science. Then I can jump right back into talking about the afterlife. So there is a difference between physics and metaphysics. Bobby Hemmett was not a physician. He wasn't a physicist. He was a metaphysicist. He was is, I don't know if he's still around. He is a metaphysician. He is not a physicist. He never taught physics. Sonneter, my love, king of consciousness. Okay, you're wrong. Phil Valentine did not teach and has never taught physics. Not physics by the true definition, a natural science that studies matter, energy, their interactions through empirical evidence and observation, and that's okay. I hold metaphysics in very, very high regard. In fact, it's on the top shelf right there with physics. Metaphysics is right there on the top shelf with physics when it comes to me personally. But you must know the difference. Don't grab the metaphysical jar to come and try to serve us some metaphysical cookies when I'm asking you, what is gravity? Don't do that. Don't do that. Excuse me. I don't mean to raise my voice, but it's frustrating. Don't do that. Don't. And don't take down the physics jar and tell me you're about to give me some physics cookies and you start talking about quantum onlyism. Don't do that. Don't. Or whatever. Whatever you talk about. Now, see, I can do this, though. I can see there's a third jar. And guess what's in that jar, everybody? There's metaphysical cookies and there are physics cookies. Metaphysics cookies and physics cookies. And see, I say, guess what, everybody? The University of Virginia. I love saying that because I know it. People say, here she comes. I love the University of Virginia. First off, it's my niece's alma mater. Secondly, they're not the only ones, but they are one of the leading universities that are using empirical evidence to study near-death experiences, which is basically people flatlining, dying, and then coming back to life and telling people of their experience. They're one of the leading universities using empirical evidence to figure out the whys of reincarnation, or hows or ifs of reincarnation, out-of-body experiences. So that's the jar. Don't try to go to the metaphysics jar or the physics jar to tell me something if I ask you for a cookie of a certain kind. If you want to go to the jar with the mixed cookies, okay, I'll sit there and have a cup of tea and eat a couple of these cookies and listen to what you have to say. But you need to have both, maybe all three, but start with both. What I'm saying is this isn't going to be a long, yes, you can have both. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who's in the chat. I just looked right now. This isn't going to be a long stream, but I want to say you have to be able, I'm going to just be straight. To the Black consciousness community, you must start taking some college courses, some basic courses on chemistry, biology. If you haven't already, I'm not saying a lot of you have. I am not saying that our people are not in school, because we are school people. We have Black universities, of course we do. We have historical Black colleges. But I'm saying, for this community, especially people who are debating, go take a formal class. You can do it online. And then come to the community and start talking about physics. Or if you have the discipline, get some books. Do your research. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just get some books on physics, basic physics. And read them. Really read them. Don't ask ChatGPT to read it for you. If you want to do an Audible book, if you're not into like the vision, if you have an issue with like reading, following the word, that's fine. That's still valid, but don't just skim through it or Google it up and be like, oh, now I know it. No, you don't know it. You don't have a grasp on it if you haven't sat down and read the book, studied with someone, done a quiz, meaning someone asks you some questions about it, you get a grasp on it, and you could come to a panel and do that, by the way. I mean, that's an idea that just came off the top of my head. You can learn together. Don't be ashamed to learn. Everybody doesn't know everything. And people try to say, oh, Nepal, you think you know everything? No, I don't. I've been around a long time in this world. I have been in school, and I have sat underneath teachers. So anything I speak on, I've either read a book about it, studied it, Not Googled it up and then said, okay, this is what I know. You can Google something to find out what to go read. That's what Google's a great source. It's a quick, you can look it up. Oh, okay, this place tells me to go get this book. Oh, this article says this, but if I want to know more, they mention this author. Let me go see if this author has any lessons, any classes, anything a website that I can check out and I can get that material. You know what I mean? Do that. Do that. It's too easy. It's getting too easy. And I don't want to sound like I'm trying to sign up for pseudo killers, but I'm starting to see what they're talking about. Okay, shout out to Ankh and his the pseudo killers, all right? The captain of the pseudo killers. Shout out to Cedric as the professor. I'm not condescending. That's the thing about me. I don't look down on people. And I'm not trying to say, well, yeah, Cedric has, and the pseudo killers do their thing. They get it done the way they do it. But I'm not trying to be harsh and look down on people. But I am saying we got to stop with not wanting to even study anything that has to do with mainstream academia. Like we have people walking around talking about we're not primates. What? And then in the same breath saying, I'm a scientist. I love science. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't love science. You love whatever it is that you love. You don't love science, though, because science says that we're primates and science can prove beyond a shadow. Listen to me. Beyond a metaphysical shadow of a doubt, science has proven that we are primates. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, science has proven that we are the relatives of apes, and we are apes ourselves. Science. They're right there. We can go study chimps. We can sit down and watch them all. Jane Goodall and all the primatologists of the world, they sat all their lives almost and just studied other primates. So you can't tell me that we're not. You can't tell me because it's observable right here. Now, the same people who want to tell us they love science, but we're not apes, the same people who want to tell us they love science, but we're not primates, say that I'm going to burn in hell because I don't believe that God took a rib out of a man and turned it into a woman. I kid you not. This is why we need to take a stand and learn. We need to go, please, do some formal research on science. I'm begging you. I'm almost in tears when I said that. I'm begging you. I implore you. I implore you to pick up a school book. Go read your children's 6th grade school book. That's all you need. Just to start right there. Please, please get your high schoolers' science course. Please read it. Please study it. Do the work with your school age child. Just do it. I'm begging you. Okay? Just get a grasp of it. And then you can go into talking about your metaphysicals. Like I said, I teach the metaphysical all the time. It's a great, great field of study. So now I want to leave you with something else here. I want to leave you with this. It's called reduction to absurdity. And what is reduction to absurdity? From now on, when I do these rants, I did the rant about the mother and I talked about the pleroma. Yes, it's Gnosticism, but it's still interesting. That was a metaphysical build, by the way. Now, this is absurdity. When you talk about reduction to absurdity, It's a method of reasoning, which I'm reading this off of the internet, but I know a little bit about this. I'd say I'm probably an 8th grader if it comes to using this, but I use it a lot still, regardless. So physics and metaphysics, this is exciting part, family. Physics and metaphysics both utilize reduction to absurdity. It's a method of reasoning, but these two fields do so in different contexts. Physics employs reduction to absurdity to establish the limits of the universe, such as the possibilities of a beginning, which leads to the necessity of a creator. You see, are y'all hearing this? I know you're getting excited if you're dark mind. If you're a dark mind of the light, you see why reduction to absurdity is so awesome, because you got it. Like, you can go from, okay, I'm thinking of my physics, I've got the empirical evidence, and now, wait a minute, who's the creator? I now switch lanes into metaphysics. See how that does that? Metaphysics, on the other hand, uses the reduction to absurdity to explore the nature of reality and the existence of a creator. The methodology differs, with physics focusing on empirical observation and falsification, while metaphysics seeks to understand the fundamental nature of existence and the universe. So now I'm going to read. This is I like to go to Stanford's, I like to go to this website. It's reliable information. Gosh, it's taking so long for this to load. I don't know what's going on. Just a minute. I want to read this paper, a little bit of the paper. I don't want to bore you. For some reason, I can't get to it. Of course you can't. Of course you can't. Well, it's at stanford.edu. It's Stanford Encyclopedia. And it's not, so when I say paper, I just want to read this, but I can't get, for some reason, it's not loading this time. Usually I can get in here, but it's my connection. It's my connection. Alrighty, so I'm not getting into it, unfortunately. Damn. So let me see if I can get a different one. This is, let me just, oh my gosh. Understanding the new reductionism. I'm just going through, because I wanted to read, just give you some basics on. Let me go to Wikipedia again, because this is just a term and it's a methodology that you can use. So this isn't like, oh, Wikipedia, we got to get over that too. So, okay, reductio ad absurdum, which is also the same as reduction to absurdity, but that's the Latin. So reductio in logic, reductio ad absurdum, or absurdum, reduction to absurdity, also known as argumentum ad absurdum in Latin for argument to absurdity, is I don't know what this word is, so let me look it up. Give me a minute. This is what I do. When I don't know a word, I have to look it up, because this is how you learn, right? So I get an idea of what it is, but I don't know what it is. But we're going to find out right now. Give me 1 second. Okay. It's apagogic. Let me read this. I got to get the pronunciation correctly. And it's apagogical. Okay. Apagogical. Apagogical. I'm getting this meaning. The etymology of apagogical, English derivative. I'm on another thing right now. I've totally gone off of the reduction to absurdity. I wanted to look up this word. Just bear with me for 1 second, okay? And I will read it to you. Okay. Apagogical is of, relating to, or involving apagogy. So I think apagogy is an argument by the reduction of absurdity. Okay, so that's the argument. Okay, I got you. So to like debate my case with reduction of absurdity to absurdity. Okay, so apagogy. I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. Apagogy pronunciation. Apagogy. I think it's apagogy pronunciation. You're like, how does she always pronounce her words so well? This, because this is how you know how to pronounce. If you don't do this, you won't. Some people don't care. I'm just this real stickler about it. It's not a big deal. It's not like it's a big deal let me just get it how to pronounce. For some reason, my internet is so slow. How to pronounce. Okay, correctly. Here it is. Why is it so slow? Okay, we're going to hear it together. Ready? Where is it? I know. Let's see. Oh my, is this muted? No. Why is it so hard for me to just get this up here? I usually can just go straight to the dictionary, but it won't do that. Let me do it on Google. Yeah, and then we'll get back to what I was going to read to you about reduction to absurdity. This is ridiculous. Usually there's just a little audio thing you can click on, but for some reason I'm not seeing it in here. It's so weird. Oh, finally, I think I found it. Nope. Nope. Well, I'm not going to give up though. Just bear with me. I got to find out why the audio isn't on this definition. Maybe it's my connection. Okay, but let's see here. We did find out that is the dictionary definition. We figured that out. Unfortunately, I have to go to this. I hate using this YouTube channel, y'all. Let me use it though. I hate using it because I don't like the way this guy has a French accent. But let's hear it. Okay, listen.
Apagogy or apagogy.
Oh, that wasn't that guy. Okay, apagogy. All right, apagogy. We got it. So I was kind of off and kind of right, but I just want to be sure. So apagogy. So apagogical. Now back to what I was reading. All right, so let me start over. Reductio ad absurdum. In logic, reductio ad absurdum, or reduction to absurdity, also known as argumentum ad absurdum, apagogical argument, or proof by contradiction. Okay, so those are all synonymous with reduction to absurdity. Apagogical. I learned a word today with y'all. Apagogical, which is basically, I got to go back. I know, because I think I want to read the definition again. I know I just said it. Bear with me. I just want to read it again, even though I read it already. Apagogic is of, relating to, or involving an apagogy proceeding. That's actually a word, y'all. Of involving an apagogy proceeding. I would think that would be a debate, right? Of, relating to, or involving an apagogy proceeding by the method of disproving the proposition that contradicts the one to be established. That's like a debate, right? I would think so. Let's get to Collins Dictionary just to really solidify this so we'll really know it. Apagogical. Collins Dictionary says it is in an apagogical manner. which that doesn't help much, does it? But basically, apagogic is of, relating to, or involving an apagogic proceeding by the method of disproving the proposition that contradicts the one to be established. So it's like a debate. It's like basically, right? So back to the Wikipedia. Okay, let's get back to the article and then I'll be done with this. So the reason I'm showing you reduction to absurdity is I was talking about the separation from physics to metaphysics. And with reduction to absurdity, you can use reduction to absurdity in physics to prove to have with the observable material natural world, and with reduction to absurdity in metaphysics, you can use it as well. Okay, so basically in an argument or in a debate or in a discussion or just in your mind, So in logic, reductio ad absurdum, Latin for reduction to absurdity, also known as argumentum ad absurdum, for argument to absurdity, or apagogical argument, or proof by contradiction. All of those are synonymous. It is a form of argument that attempts to establish a claim by showing that following the logic of a contrary proposition or argument would lead to absurdity or contradiction. Oh, okay. So apagogical is that's a word I just learned. So it's the same. Obviously, we just established that. Duh. It's the same as reduction to absurdity. So, although it is quite freely used in mathematical proofs, of course, not every school of mathematical thought accepts this kind of non-constructive proof. The argument or reduction to absurdity this method traces back to ancient Greek philosophy. That's another thing we got to stop doing. Oh, I don't mess with that Greek this, that Greek that. Stop doing that. You should study the Greek. You should study the Latin. You should study everything. Stop that mess. I digress. Traces back to ancient Greek philosophy. You don't have to agree with it, but you should study it. You'd have a grasp on it, right? Just like Bart Ehrman is an atheist and he studies, his life mission is studying the Bible and studying the stories of Jesus. You don't have to believe it, but you need to have a good grasp on it when you go to, if you want to be a teacher and if you want to discuss these things. So reduction to absurdity traces back to ancient Greek philosophy and has been used throughout history in both formal mathematical and philosophical reasoning. In both formal mathematical and philosophical reasoning, as well as in debate. Okay? In mathematics, the technique is called proof by contradiction. In formal logic, this technique is captured by an inference rule for reductio ad absurdum, normally given the abbreviation RAA. Okay, so this is very technical, but just the actual methodology, or you just using, the method, or using this type of, this method, reduction to absurdity, the exciting thing that I was showing you is, oh my goodness, separate physics from metaphysics, and then it will be fine once you get a grasp of physics and you know what it is, separate from metaphysics. And then it will lead you, once you start doing all that, you finish up, you've done all your observations and your experiments in the physics, then you still want more. And that then will lead you into, okay, I figured out that there was a beginning, we were created, there was this and that. I've studied, there's the cosmology. I've figured that, okay, that's all established, but wait a minute. I still have questions of why and who did it. So then it leads you into the metaphysical. And then you start using reduction to absurdity with that. Reductio ad absurdum. I don't use that. I don't use the Latin, but more broadly, proof by contradiction is any form of argument that establishes a statement by arriving at a contradiction, even when the initial assumption is not the negation of the statement to be proved. In this general sense, proof by contradiction is also known as indirect proof, proof by assuming the opposite, and reductio ad impossibile. Impossibile. That's what it is. Reductio ad impossibile. Impossibile. That's Latin for, I would assume, reduction to the impossible. G.H. Hardy described proof by contradiction as, quote, one of mathematicians' finest weapons, unquote, saying, quote, it is a far finer gambit than any chess gambit. A chess player may offer the sacrifice of a pawn or even a piece, but a mathematician offers the entire game or the game, right? So that's all I'm going to leave you with. You can study the rest of it on your own. I just want to get back to saying this. Bobby Hemmitt was not a physicist, is not a physicist. Phil Valentine is not a physicist. Physics is a branch of science that requires empirical evidence and observation, or vice versa, in the natural world. Metaphysics is, and a metaphysicist is what Bobby Hemmitt was, Phil Valentine is. And that's okay, that's fine. But what isn't fine is when you're coming in to teach the metaphysical and trying to completely discount the facts that physics are important. To have a grasp on physics is important. It's not even important. It's crucial. It's if you want to be a teacher, if you want to get in here and start talking about, if you are going to use quantum physics in your metaphysical teachings, you have to have a grasp of at least physics, and you don't have to. Come on, I know it's a great leap to say, okay, you have to have a grasp on quantum physics, but you do have to have the basics of quantum mechanics. You have to understand, and you won't be able to get to that unless you first study, at least take a course or read a book on physics. And I'm going to leave you with that, and I mean it. Stop playing play if you want to be taken seriously. Otherwise, I'm just going to, I don't want to be a part. I don't want to be a part of you. I don't want to be called, I've never had a problem being called pseudo, but I don't want to be called pseudo if we have a bunch of people out here who are dabbling in the metaphysical and discussing philosophical topics, and then trying to act like you don't even know what a quark is. And then there's somebody I saw this stream, I watched a brief part of it, and somebody brought up a quark. What? Please stop. If that person, I bet money, if I said, do you know what a subatomic particle is? That's 8th grade. Do you know what, well, maybe not 8th grade. Okay, it's freshman in college. Do you know what a subatomic particle is? The same person who's trying to talk about quarks would not be able to readily answer that question. And you know why you want to know why that is pathetic? Those who know, because a quark is a subatomic particle. So stop it. Please, I love you. I kiss you to the sky. Keep teaching your metaphysical. Keep teaching your philosophical. Let's go. I want to get totally deep. Let's do that. We're the darkest minds, but we're the darkest minds of the light. Meaning you're going to bring it to the surface. We got to see it and know it's real. Not that we have to see something that's, spiritual, but even you even have to see that though. Yeah, let me take a step back forward. Yeah, you even have to see if it's spiritual. We're in a new era. I did appreciate the presentation that I watched the guy do because he made a great point. These are not things that we cannot prove anymore. I loved his presentation where he said, we can prove these things. There's no longer a mysterious God, a mysterious realm. We don't want to use the word mysterious. These are things that we just don't know. Now I'm talking philosophically, metaphysically, actually. These are things that we're exploring, but we start our journey in the natural world. And then we expand exponentially. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So with that said, thank you so much. Peace, Tahuti. This is one of my day ones. Darkest minds of the light. Peace and love to you always. And that is it. Yes, when you say a cat neon yellow, you made me think, Alexander, you made me think of Schrodinger's cat. There's a use of right there. There's a, reduction to absurdity, Schrodinger's cat. And then we're not talking about the metaphysical. We're talking about the actual empirical evidence. But then see how quantum physics and quantum mechanics, I should say, how we go into that. And it's like, oh, wow. There's not much of a separation, but there is a separation. It's a thin line separating physics and metaphysics. And I'm not saying that the lines, they don't blur. Let's consider it a wave. You like that? How I said that? Instead of a line, we'll say there's a wave between physics and metaphysics. When does that wave collapse? There's a line there. You get what I'm saying? It's like when you talk about Schrodinger's cat, it can lead you into using that reduction. When I said reduction to absurdity, you'll switch lanes from mainstream science into philosophy, and philosophy is mainstream. I say philosophy is mainstream, but it's a different field. But what I'm saying is, but I shouldn't even be saying but. So what I'm saying is, you go into, okay, that's wild, because that cat never existed because I said it didn't exist in the box. I'm doing me. I'm not doing Schrodinger, really. I'm kind of like playing off of it. The cat was never in the box. Schrodinger says, is the cat alive or the cat not alive? Get it? I say the cat wasn't even in the box. I'm deep now. I'm in the metaphysical. Get it? So I'm like, there wasn't even a cat there. But of course, when you open the box, it could either be a cat there or a cat not there. It could be a live cat or a dead cat. So anyway, with all that said, thank you so much. Peace for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have to stop pretending that school doesn't matter. Universities don't matter. Mainstream science don't matter. All this mess about the white man science. That's just your excuse to be lazy. That's your excuse. See, I could have just looked at this word apagogy and never gone and found out how to pronounce it and what it was. And it turned out it's what I already knew. I knew it's the same as reduction to absurdity. But had I not gone and just taken those extra steps to, doing air quotes, research it, look it up, I could have kept on just walking around. Oh yeah, I know what that is, apagogical. Oh, of course, apagogical. And I'm just saying it. I could be saying apagogical. Get what I'm there, and that is what I fault this community for doing. If you see a word that you don't know, you don't have to do what I did and stop right in the middle. If you're not like me and very transparent, if you want to pretend you know a word, at least look it up later. I'm not into pretending that I know a word because, and by the way, I'll just let you know, that's why I know a lot of words. And that's why I have an above average vocabulary. I don't use it all the time. You use what you should use in certain groups and certain conversations. You don't. I don't feel like trying to make people feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? So somebody's in here. I think I had somebody hit the panel. All right, I'm going to let you speak and come in because you came in to talk, and I was going to end this, but I'd like to hear from you. How are you, Rance? How are you doing? I can't hear you. Is it me or can y'all hear him? It might be my phone. I'm on my phone right now. Can you guys hear? Say something, Mansa Hercules. Put a Tahuti. Can you hear him? No. Okay, we can't. It's your audio, Mansa Hercules. It's your audio. Come back. Hopefully, I'll give you a minute. So yeah, we got to start. We have to, even if you don't like it, even if you are totally against it. I know that voice. I hear you, beautiful Napasha. Thank you, Aurora Borealis. How are you? How are you doing? Peace to you. I haven't seen you for a while. Hey, Cedric, I brought you up earlier. I think you'll appreciate this stream. And no, I'm not a pseudo killer, so don't get excited. I was like, earlier, I was like, okay, I'm starting to sound a little bit like a pseudo killer. So I got to check myself. I got to stay balanced. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, I was just talking about the difference between physics and metaphysics and how it is important. It is crucial that if we're going to be in this community and start talking about things that have to do with that. Oh, on that fence. No, I'm not. I'm gonna show this. No, I'm not on the fence. I am working between, I don't know if you heard my analogy. I was saying it's like I said there's a thin line between physics and metaphysics, but then I said there's a wave. There's a wave between physics and metaphysics. And I was like, when does it collapse? You like that? I know you appreciate that, Cedric. Okay, peace. Thank you for being here. I think the brother came back. Hopefully he fixed his audio. And let's hear from him, and then I can go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate it. Are you back? You're back, Mansu Hercules. I hope we can hear you now. Y'all, can you hear him? Wow, did you check your settings? I don't know why I can't hear you. Are you talking? Okay, can you hear him? Put anybody in the chat. Cedric, anybody who's there, can you hear the brother Aurora Borealis? Yes, very good to see you. Very good to see you, Aurora Borealis. Very long time no see, my friend. I'm glad to see you. Can you hear the panelist? Did you check your audio on StreamYard, Mansu Hercules?
Hello.
Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
You had yourself muted. I do that.
No, it was it was like a default thing in the StreamYard. You got to click on that joint.
Okay, how are you? What would you like to add?
Hey, how you doing? Nepal,
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, it was interesting intake on how you presented it. I mean, of course, I'm gonna have a little pushback because I'm coming from that African-centered point of view, and so my view as a person who as a person who studied mathematics, I took I don't have my degrees. I don't have a degree in physics, but I had to take a couple of physics classes as my electives.
Oh, great. Okay. So you're already ahead of the game as far as this community.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about the brother Phil Valentine and the guy Bobby. I never really followed them.
I'm not saying you're ahead of them. I'm not trying to go against what they teach. They're very extraordinary metaphysicists. I'm saying as far as physics, you said you took physics courses in school and math courses. So
Yeah. So I mean, I was just saying that I've heard of them, but I've never followed them. In their
Do you think
in their
those
teaching.
courses were helpful for you in your metaphysical African centered studies and teachings? The
Yes,
mathematics and the physics, they helped you, didn't they?
yes, definitely.
Okay,
Um,
so I think you're aligning with me so far.
I mean, but my only pushback is that I think for me, from my understanding, from how I'm viewing it, is that the metaphysics, so the what we call so-called metaphysics world view is provable and it has been proven. I think our ancestors has proven that things in what we call the metaphysics world is real and actually true. And I just look at that. I just look at that from after reading the text, going through their works, and looking back of how I've analyzed things, how I learned things, and analyzing it and saying, wait a minute, hold up. If this is this, then hold up, this has to be true.
Now, let me
Uh,
ask you a question. Did you not hear me actually say that? I'm wondering if you didn't hear me say that, because
no,
obviously you may have missed it.
yeah, I came home like I just got in like about 17, 18 minutes ago, and I tuned in.
Because I actually said that. I said, now we have the University of Virginia studying this, looking for the empirical evidence in the afterlife, reincarnation, out of body experiences, but they've taken it into uh, the consideration, so to speak. They're observing it. So I even said, yes, I made that statement. I backed off and then I went back forward. I said, no, you can prove the spirit realm. You can prove these things. And I
Mhm.
said, that's what I enjoyed about the presentation of the young man. I can't remember what his name was. He was doing a presentation about being able to prove in the natural world these things that we see as metaphysical.
Mm. Okay,
But
yeah.
that's not my argument. My thing is, we don't do that. You said you have a physics background, a math background from college. Most people, I'd say, not. It's getting better. I'd say about 60% of the people, maybe 70, who are in this community, they don't even value physics. They don't value mainstream science and academia when it comes to empirical evidence. They actually scoff at it and say it's the white man science. And that is what I am having issue with. That's my problem.
Okay, but okay, so yeah, I understand. So I'm the one. I've done the presentation on HOK about African science and Black science. So there is a difference in approach in doing science, and getting your results because my example was Kemet, ancient Kemet, using them as an example because it was a civilization where it wasn't influenced by Europeans or Arabs. And we have an example there of pure African science being done, and we see that where their approach to doing science was not to interrupt the balance in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Even though their mathematical level was at the same level that we have today, we're not told that, but actually it was their math. They had a high understanding of mathematics, and their approach to doing it and applying their mathematics, which science is just applied, is applied mathematics. Chemistry is applied mathematics. It's applied to the level of knowledge that you have in math. The level of knowledge of math that you have is dependent on the type of science you do. If you only do algebra, you can only do certain type of experiments. Today, most of our science is done with differential equations and partial differential equations. So our ancestors, they had this high understanding of mathematics, which I was trying to show, and that their approach to doing science and reaching their results is completely opposite of how we do science today. And we don't see that because we grew up in the West, in the Western culture, where everything is about the so-called progression. Everything it changes over time and stuff like that, and things supposedly get better and things like that. However, their approach was to maintain maintain this order and balance in the universe. You know what I'm saying? You live in harmony with your ecology, with your nature, with Earth, and with the universe. So there is a difference in the sciences and the difference in the approach. I would say there is a difference in the approach in doing the sciences. And you know what I'm saying? What African people are doing when they, without any influence from Europeans or the Arabs, there's a different approach and a result than how we have science today. And that's one of the things that I was trying to prove, I was trying to show to Ankh, and the pseudocode is up because they say they don't know science is just science, but if you actually type it into AI, if you type it into Google, is there a difference between African science and Western science? The answer is yes. It's not well, but it's no, it's completely yes. There's a completely different approach to how you do it. So that's one of the things I was trying to point out in how we do science and the result. And we see the result today from Western science for the world that we live in today. We see the modern technology and everything because we like it. This is how we grew up, but we haven't not been able to see the result of a purely African approach to doing science because of slavery and colonization and all that stuff. And that's one of the things I was trying to show is that it's a different approach, and the results would have been different because the results is not like you wouldn't destroy the earth, you wouldn't destroy the ecology, the world, you would do pollution. Saying no matter how much money you're going to make, that's the Western approach. They don't matter. It doesn't matter. You can pollute the water all you want. You can pollute the earth all you want, as long as you're making this so-called progress in science. And but we think that that's a universal way of thinking, and that's not a universal way of thinking. Is one things I was trying to make. My point I was trying to make.
Okay. Well, let me talk to you about that. This is interesting. And I this isn't I don't disagree or agree. I'm just learning and listening. So there are some things that I'm interested in from what you said. I do want to ask you, like, when you say African science, now, and then you use the word universal, would you say that this particular science that I heard you say the word Western, but let me be careful. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it mainstream conventional
Yes.
academia. So, would you agree that African scientists are practicing the same science that we practice in the West?
Today, yes. Today,
And, okay.
they are.
And it is so they are in Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe, America, all around the world. There's this one universal science, which is the conventional science that we know of today.
Yes.
You agree with that? Okay.
I agree with that.
Go ahead.
And there's a small amount of Black people, in Africa that's trying to point out, trying to make the distinction and understand that, there's a distinction in African approach to doing science and research. This book right here that I have that I'm showing is called Introduction to African Science. It's by Jonathan Comakin.
Okay.
But it's just one brother. He says one brother over there. I have several books that are about different brothers that are over there, brothers and sisters on the continent that are point that I mean, yes, because everybody, most of us, majority everybody, got their degree from a Eurocentric point of view university. You know what I'm saying? And these is a lot of brothers.
You said that though. You see how you said Eurocentric?
Yeah, because and when you think about it, because the universities, their foundation and their approach to doing research and their epistemology is founded in Western culture. You know what I'm saying? Even in Africa, I've lived in Ghana, and I've been there, and you can find, their philosophy department is completely European. There's no African philosophy. You know what I'm saying? And it shocked me.
Talking about you said they're what department?
Philosophy.
Okay, but we're talking about not philosophy. We're going back into, remember, this is about, and I can merge the two, I get it, but we're not talking about philosophy. I'm talking about the empirical evidence and the observation of the natural world, the mainstream science. Would you so if you go in a lab or go into the chemistry department in that university, and you go in a lab, or even biology, you go into, there's a cadaver there and we've got people studying they're in medical school. Would you say, oh, this is definitely a European biology lab?
So let me address the philosophy thing. Is that science is based on philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Modern science is based on Western philosophy, period. I mean, again, that's just a simple, if you type that into AI, it'll tell you, yes, modern science is based on Western philosophy. And
then why don't people have a grasp of Western? Well, I want to cut to the chase. I know that because that's a different, and I want to take you back out of that before you go down that path.
No, I'm gonna go back to the chemistry joint, what you said. I'm about to hit it right now.
Okay, go ahead, because I want to know, because I already know why. Because it's too hard. It takes too much discipline. It takes too much time and discipline to go study like you did and take math courses and science and do physics. They don't want to do that. They want to get up here and they want to teach. That's why they're not doing it in this community. And then when we say things like, "Oh, it's okay, brother, because it's Eurocentric anyway. You go ahead and you teach that African science," and what they do a disservice to your African science, because I want to get that book that you show me. They don't even teach the African science. They teach whatever, flying by the seat of your pants. They start teaching whatever they want to teach. And now you've got them doing a disservice to the African science because they don't have the core discipline to go and do some real research, some real learning. They don't. Now, I'm sorry to say that, but I just wanted to, before you go down you're right about the history of mainstream science, but I just wanted to stay on the level where you said it's Eurocentric. That is giving them an excuse not to go to school or take a class or read a book. That's what's going on there.
Well, I would counter that with, because it would be the same with me. You know what I'm saying? Because I guess because before I went to college, I was already, you know what I'm saying, I had the mindset of an African, I guess a Pan-Africanist, before I even went to college. But I guess, you know what I'm saying, even when you're in college, when you started, there's a lot of Black people, they become woke, you know what I'm saying, they wake up when they get to the university level, taking classes of African history and stuff, African American history. They begin to become woke at that level, and once they're in college, so it's not that you'll be stuck with the mindset that is Eurocentric approach to science. I think that if we allow our children if we teach our children that there's a difference and that we have to approach it from an African-centered point of view, then they will approach it as well from an African-centered point of view. There's one thing, because I have a daughter right now. She's in college right now. And I tell her all the time, I say, look, I say, make sure, you know what I'm saying, you and your friends, you know what I'm saying, y'all got to, you know what I'm saying, not just think about starting businesses, but y'all need to think about starting corporations. You know what I'm saying, when y'all interacting with brothers and sisters over on the continent, when y'all doing commerce, with the people on the continent, y'all acting and stuff like that. And every other group of people are doing that. They over there in Africa doing commerce, except for Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? So, I try to put that in her mind now. So when she graduates, you know what I'm saying, they having this, they want to start a business, they want to do their own business. They need to understand that, hey, we need to connect with our people, with, you know what I'm saying, where the main resources are at. Approaching this from a Eurocentric point of view is the difference, because, all right, so just to say it is that the difference comes in where African people always looked at doing their scientific research as a holistic thing, not a reductionist thing. It's how Europeans look at it. And they also included the metaphysical world, that non-physical world, spiritual world, when they did their research. For us growing up in the West, this is something like, wait a minute, this is that's pseudoscience, that stuff ain't true. But you have to consider that Western culture, this Western science, has only been around for 500 years. We've been on this joint for the last 4,000, 10,000 years and been doing it. So obviously, if our people have been doing it for 10,000 years, obviously something works. There's something that's true about it. But we only, like I said, we only see the results today from a Western point of view, because me growing up, I remember we had telephones with the cords, then we with the telephones without the cords, then we with the pagers, cell phones, and now we got these little cell phones, the computer that's like a computer. So we can see the advancement in the style of doing Western science, where we have never been able to see the advancement of African people doing science from their own point of view. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm trying to say?
Okay, but you're talking about something completely different. Do you notice this though? And this, somebody said, why is it so hard to agree? We don't have to always agree on everything. We can just respect each other too. And I timed you out. You won't be able to comment anymore in the chat, because you want, I don't know what people come in here with the why is it so hard to agree? This person probably is divorced and doesn't even talk to his family anymore, talking about why is it so hard to agree. But anyway, I was talking to the audience. What I want to say is that, like, my issue is that all this is wonderful, and I don't disagree with you. I love what you're saying, but the issue is, don't you think that people need to do what you did? Don't you think they need to take some courses in some basic physics courses, at least have a grasp on it, maybe even learn from somebody if they don't want to go in mainstream college? Don't you think they need to learn about math to be able to understand the basic fundamentals of that before they start getting into trying to teach something that has to do with it? See, my thing is, if they're going to get in, do you agree? If I'm going to get in here and talk to you about physics, shouldn't I at least have a basic grasp on what you call Eurocentric physics? Shouldn't I know something about it?
Right. I agree. Definitely. I mean, I just saw yesterday a presentation the brother did on, I forgot what he called it, quantum oleum. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what sparked me to do this particular stream. The quantum only, which, don't get me wrong, he had I don't know if you heard me. I said the part that I like is that he said we can prove these things that we say are spiritual in the natural world, and I absolutely 100% agree, and I've taught that before. What I don't like is that the whole, you know what I mean? Like, why are you talking? What about quantum physics? What about quantum? Somebody, I think he brought up a quark. And then somebody in the comment, what really made me do this is somebody in the comments like, oh, he's the only person I heard talking about quarks. And then that's why I said, not that this matters, but they're not. Do you know what a quark is? And if you do, I'm not an expert. I'm not a physicist, but I at least know how to decipher between physics and metaphysics before I merge it, which I loved. I love the teaching of merging it. I love that he does that. I loved his presentation. But what I don't appreciate is that people are not even studying. They're not even studying the academia at all, because they're being told, oh, don't worry, it's the white man's science. And that's not fair. It's not fair.
With him, it wasn't that. It wasn't that there's a white man's science.
I'm not specifically saying about him. I'm saying overall.
Overall, yeah. And I think it's about to become a problem is that a lot of what I'm saying with like he did, because he has a book out as well that published that came out last year, or matter of fact, I think the year before last, 2024, because I looked it up, is that he said in the beginning of the presentation that he took his own thoughts and he put it into AI, and your AI generated, what I'm saying, the
I know.
presentation that we saw. And the problem, like I said, the problem with that is just that if you don't know the subject and you just listening to what AI is regurgitating, you still don't know the subject. Because I went on there and I asked him about the Bayesian equation, the probability that he brought up, the Bayesian probability, the equation that he put it on the board. And I was like, well, how does that equation make sense, brother? I asked him to break it down. Of course he didn't. Of course he couldn't break it down because he got it from AI.
Stop right there. You and I have become one in the mind. You are agreeing with me on my presentation now. This is where I am, right there, what you did. So I'm with you on the I'm going to get the book. I want to know more about African science. I don't know anything about it really. I might know about it and I just think I didn't know. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about what you just said right there. Right there. You hit the panel because you are a mathematician. You've done you know both sides. You are qualified to come in the middle and say, okay, I know both. I know the you say Eurocentric science. I know the African science. So now I'm going to ask you a question about this. And he knew nothing about it. And I love him as my brother. But do you get what I'm saying now? Do you see where I'm concerned? Where
Yes.
he needs to get where you are? He needs to know both sides, or I'm not even I'm not a mathematician, but I have a freshman grasp on the physics and a humble understanding of the quantum mechanics and physics, nothing even advanced. He's just feeding it in, and then you know what he's doing? He's taking it to the books and the stage, and then I'm going to hand this back to you because now I want you to really, really talk about this. He's handing it to our children, to our people, and they're saying, well, it's in a book and it must be real because now I can Google it and, quantum onlyism comes up. What? That's something he made up.
Right.
So I need to, and it's okay to make up things because people, Max Planck, we have inventors and scientists that name stuff after things in the what you call Eurocentric science. But my point is, he doesn't even understand it, and he's teaching it, and that is the scary, dangerous part. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. So please, I'm giving you the mic. Can you talk about that experience? Can you really, from my point of view, empathize with me and talk to the people about that? That's my concern. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I was thinking about so bad. I was like, man, I need to reply to this brother. But at the same time, I was like, I ain't gonna deal with it. But I understand. It's like it needs to be addressed because what he's doing is you see the next. You can see the next generation of people just putting stuff in the AI, and then they coming back with it like, yo, this is that. Because like I was on the panel and I had to hop off because I had to go to bed. But I tuned back in like later today to see what they was talking about. I did the replay, and there was another brother that was on the panel who also did the same thing. He also did the same thing where he puts information in AI, and it was somebody on the panel who was questioning him about the information. He said, look, I don't know. I have to go back and read, go through it and try. And it's like, I understand people, you want to make a point. And what I said to the guy was that, listen, you should sit back and just watch some of the videos. I mean, you ain't got to take the classes. You can watch the videos on YouTube about, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, so you can get a better understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I did not take a class. I took physics 1 and 2. Physics 3 is modern physics. And after that, you don't truly, you know what I'm saying?
You don't need anything else. Go ahead, say it. I want you to say it.
You don't need it.
But see what you just said? Thank you, my brother, family, everybody out there saying, oh, Nepal. this is exactly what you don't have to spend your whole life. But you said, no, go ahead. So you took a couple of classes and got a grasp of it. Okay, go ahead.
And after I understood it, I'm able to watch the videos on quantum mechanics, particle physics, and still understand what's going on. So, you know what I'm saying? If you just sit back and just let the videos play and watch it and listen to it, you ain't got to solve the problems. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to work. You just understand the concepts of what's going on. Same thing with mathematics. You ain't got to solve the problems. You can just sit back and let it play, and that way you can understand the concepts of what's going on, and say how things are going on. And that's what I told him. Of course he was like, of course, man, I ain't got to sit back and do nothing. I ain't got to listen. And I was like, okay, all right.
Wait a minute. I want you to repeat that. Everyone, if you weren't listening, what did he say?
No, he said that. He said, man, I've been doing this for 46 years. I ain't got to watch no videos. And I was like, all right, man. I was like, all right.
Hold on. Hold on. I got to do it. I got to get it. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I got to drop this bomb. I could end the show right here. And that's what I'm talking about. Right there.
Yeah, definitely.
I want you to just please go ahead. I want you to finish up with just this. This is beautiful. I'm so glad you hit the panel.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, it's I just definitely want
close out soon, but yes, thank you. Go on. What do you want to say about that?
I just want our people, what I'm saying, if we get into the science and stuff, and you're not, what I'm saying, you didn't go to school for it, that's fine. Malcolm X didn't go to school. We all know that. He went, he went to elementary school, but he got his knowledge after he left the prison system. What I'm saying, he was self-taught. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Marcus Garvey was self-taught. So you can be self-taught, but you need to sit down and take the time to do the research and do the work.
Yes, read.
That is not a problem. Read. You can't just rely on AI. You have to also do the work and do the read. And it's funny because you hear these stories nowadays about college students getting caught using AI to do their research papers
all the time.
And I laugh. I'm like, how dumb are you? Because when I was growing up, I remember we had to it's like the teacher would give you a paper is a paragraph, and you had to fill in the blanks of the paragraph. And it's like, and then it's like they give you another homework. Like you fill in the blanks of something that's missing. The other homework was that they give you words and you had to define these words. You had to go look them up and define the words, but you could not use the definition that you found in the dictionary. You had to come up with your own definition.
It's to show that you can comprehend it.
It is like these people, it's like these kids nowadays, like, how dumb are you? You just going to regurgitate exactly what AI says, and your teacher is looking at it like, yo, this came from AI. Instead of you know what I'm saying, rewriting the shit and making it into your own word and your own thought. It's like, come on, people. Like, what the hell are y'all doing?
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. That's deep. Yeah.
So I mean, it's
scary.
AI is a tool. Everybody say AI is a tool that we can use. They came up with this new tool. They invented a new tool that we use. Fine, we're going to use it. But we can't just completely rely on it. I mean, one of the things for me, I remember, I would say this real quick. I was in Cal 2, when I was taking Calculus 2, my teacher was an Indian lady, a short little Indian lady, and she was like hardcore. And she hated, I was the only math major in my class. Everybody else was engineers. And she did not like me using a calculator. And this was back in when you know what I'm saying, back a couple of early 2000 when they had the TI 90 calculators.
Yeah, the Texas
Instrument. The Texas Instrument 90 calculators. And she would look at me, was like, what are you doing? You don't need a calculator. Put that away. And I was like, what the hell? And she would only say that to me, not anybody else.
Wow.
And the thing was that she was
Wow.
trying to get me, because as being a math person, she was trying to get me to use my brain and not use a
Right.
calculator. And
Mm.
it wasn't until years later that I realized that, she was an elder. I
She
think
wasn't picking on you. She was trying to make you better.
yeah, she had to grow up in like the 1940s or some shit. I mean, sorry, she had to grow up in the 1940s, which they didn't even have calculators, or they had like basic calculators, and she
Or
was
they
doing
had an abacus too.
and she was doing
My
cow
mom had
too
an
back then.
abacus. My mom used to count up add up the bills, and she'd be on an abacus at the table, y'all. I'm serious. But go ahead.
And she was doing cow too back then, where you used to use graph. You got the graphing techniques on the calculator. You got all the the iterations on the calculator. They was doing all that by hand, and it
Mm-hmm.
hit me. I was like, damn. I said, all right, I need to do this by hand. You know what I'm saying? And I stopped using the calculator, and it just made you better. It just made you better at doing the math and understanding what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I do the same thing with my kids. I make my daughter's in college now. She took calculus when she was in high school. And
Yes, yes,
I would
yes.
make her work it out by hand. And you know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
And she used to hate that. You know what I'm saying? But
That's beautiful.
it makes you
You
use
remember the
your
scratch
brain
paper
more.
with the
Yup.
scratch paper with the little pencils?
Yup.
Yeah, you're from my time.
So
But
yes,
I appreciate you coming up here. I want you to join more. I do need to talk to you more. I've seen you do some presentations. I would love to talk to you about the afterlife, which is a metaphysical topic, by the
yes,
way. I
yes.
don't um uh would you just close out? I want you to have the final word, and then I'm going to end this stream. But I so am glad that you know what's awesome? Okay, now y'all, I'm getting metaphysical. I'm getting to my spookiness. For you to come in and actually bring up that presentation that actually sparked me to do this stream, it's not a coincidence. Okay, that's all I want to say. I don't want to get people think, look, she's over here trying to tell us about physics, and look at her getting spooky at the end. So it's awesome that you came in and shared that. And I agree with you that there are different sciences. There's one universal language of science that you say and it's Eurocentric, but I would like to know more about African science. You don't have a book, right?
No,
Or
no,
do you?
not yet. No, no.
That's what you need to do. We all need our books. We all need
Hmm.
to do our books. You know what's sad is that now I know you're going to write your book on your own, but like you said, we got people writing books through AI. And then so if you're someone, you sit down and you have your tome, your book that you write, it's like, I really put work into this, and we got somebody over here with 13 books. I'm not naming anybody. And you wonder, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Hmm.
you put all the work and effort in, and then somebody comes in behind you and they've got a book that they wrote overnight with AI. That's the part that saddens me.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw that presentation. I was like, wow, this guy, he put a book together, but if you ask him a question, he can't answer it himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He has to use the thing. So I'll end with this, Sister Nepal. Me like say I got my degree in mathematics. I consider myself an Amos Wilsonist, and
Oh
I
wow,
think
that's awesome.
I think I think that we black people, you know what I'm saying, after getting my degree, I feel like we need to get back to approaching science and doing math the way our ancestors did. And the reason I feel like that is because we enter this new era with AI, and we have to fight back. Our ancestors proved that they had a civilization that lasted for 4,000 years based on their understanding of the universe, mathematics, and science. Their approach to the universe that lasted for 4,000 years. Today, you cannot build a dog shed that lasts for 100 years without refurbishing it. But yet
Mhm.
our ancestors was able to build structures that still stand today. So I'm saying that we have to get back into approaching science and research the way that they approached it. And it's going to help us. It's going to leapfrog us over everybody else. It's going to bring us to the forefront. And if you guys take a time to look at the brothers and sisters on a continent that even though, even though they got their degrees, from these European universities, the European universities, they still doing science that's remarkable. I mean, I seen somebody who made an electric battery out of water.
Oh
Somebody who
yeah, the
made,
African, they're elite over there with that.
yeah,
Yes.
they doing
The
so much
boy, what
stuff.
about the boy who got all the scrap metal and did you're talking I think you're talking about the same thing. He went and did all the to the trash heap and got all the scraps and he made was it a battery? A
A
little boy, I
battery,
think it
yeah,
was yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's amazing.
It's
That's
so much
amazing.
stuff that our approach and understanding the universe that we already know that they have lied to us, they deceive us. And so in my research and what I've been looking into, I've been able to show that they completely lied about the mathematics. Our ancestors was way far more advanced than what
Mhm.
they've been saying. I mean, they in ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, they try to say that their level of mathematics stopped at algebra, and that is not true. Not true at all. You cannot build those structures with basic algebra, and I've shown that. So I mean, we as a people, we have to yes, we have to be critical of the people who are coming in and not doing the research and not doing the work. And we want say we want to stand with them because we have this new tool. And I think that Marimba Ani in her book Urugu, she's shown us that the Europeans are completely opposite of us, African people. Their way of viewing the world is completely opposite. And so
Right.
whatever they do, whatever they show us, that's is the way, is the life. It's not. And
Oh,
I'll leave it at that.
you know what you made me think of? Well, since I'm sitting here talking, I was thinking about what you're talking about African mathematics. I remember I did a show. I don't know if you hit the panel with Genesis, and she showed me the fractals, the indigenous African architectures.
Mhm,
That they've been doing these fractals for millennia in their
mhm, yes.
tribes, and then this mathematician went there, and he got all this information from the I think one of the tribe leaders. He had to go through a ritual to get this information. So it's a phenomenon in math, fractals, but they've been doing it for millennia. So yeah, I do know that little tiny bit about African math, which is phenomenal. That because when you said the thing about the boy putting together all that, making that invention from the scraps, I
Mhm,
remembered the thing about how this world-renowned mathematician went to the I forget what tribe, indigenous tribe, and he wanted to find out how they knew how to do these fractals in their architecture of their homes in their where they live in their community. So that's African math, right? Have you familiar with that, correct?
yes, yes, and definitely. And can I let me address? There's a question and a comment.
Sure.
Definitely, that's fractal mathematics is a fundamental foundation actually of African thought, of African math. There's a question in the comment says how did Kemet math looks?
Right.
How did Kemet math look? So if you just pick up, there's a lot of books on it already. A lot of Europeans, they wrote a little books on it. Their mathematics, the way that they, so what we have to understand first of all is that the Kemet was founded by people who came from Central Africa and Southern Africa. They joined up and they created the civilization. They it's a joining of a union of the minds. So their math was basically it started with doubling. You double, you doubling, you're in the multiplications, you're doubling from 1, 2, 4 to 8, 16,
So it's
32. It's
exponential.
always yeah,
Or no, it's not
it's showing
exponential.
you
Is it exponential?
that's it's not exponential, but it's showing you
Because
this
2 times
doubling.
2, it becomes 4. Oh, I get you. It
Mhm.
just keeps doubling, like
It's
4 and then 8.
doubling, and then
Yeah, exponential will be 416.
yeah,
Correct?
then
All right.
you're looking at, and then they. I mean, and we have to understand it wasn't everybody. No, it wasn't everybody. But we talk about the priests, the scribes, who were like PhDs to us. And then I'm saying they're looking at the universe because they're dealing with rhythm. For them, it was rhythm. It was rhythmatic, and you're dealing with what we call harmonic analysis today. So they look at things as waves and things coming in cycles and periods. That's how they approached to doing their mathematics. It was things that come in cycles, because in Western science, in Western math, we look at time as being linear. They look at time as being circular. All right. It came in periodic. So for them, and this is where me and Cedric was getting mad at me because he was talking about how you cannot reach the quantum level without having electricity. And I was telling him that it's not true, because in mathematics, if you understand periodic time, then you can understand how you can reach a quantum level. Then you get to differential equations and partial differential equations on a quantum level, because you understand periodic time. And that's what they did. They understood periodic time. And I'm saying, from the Western point of view, you can't reach that level because they're looking at time linearly. You know what I'm saying? Calculus is just about change in positions, and you're going on a linear approach, and you're changing in positions. But that's not how they approach doing their mathematics and approach to doing understanding of the universe. It was circular. It was reciprocal. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they approach their math. You know what I'm saying? It was completely different looking at it. It was completely different. That's all.
Interesting. Very interesting conversation. I would like to have more of these. I'm going to try to, hopefully you can join when I try to have these conversations about, juxtaposing mainstream, so-called mainstream. You say, I want to be clear, you call it Eurocentric, which I'm not saying you don't have a basis for that. I know why, obviously, yes. Eurocentric, just put it next to African science. I would like to do that. Wait, I kind of got off track. Yeah, so what I would like to do is have more conversations, not just African science, even just saying, what is the metaphysical, how is it defined, how is metaphysical defined in African science and compared to mainstream? It's not even in mainstream science. And I think that's what I'm trying to with this presentation, or not with this presentation, with this talk. I'm saying, if we were doing African science, let me articulate myself better. I'm kind of distracted. Okay, if African science was what we know as mainstream science, we wouldn't have the separation, the complete separate difference between metaphysical and physics. We would have the metaphysics comfortably present. I'm just assuming in African science, as I see with the fractals, because the fractals, it's a spirit. They go by a spiritual thing. It's not just about the empirical evidence. Oh, this is how I observe this, measure this out. This is how it's measured. This is what it's supposed to be. It's more a blend. So I would think that the African science wouldn't be the conversation I'm having about physics versus metaphysics. Metaphysics is ingrained in African science, correct?
Yes. It's all one. That's the thing, because as we look at the people from the continent, they don't separate their worldview into like different components as they do in Western culture. And that's I remember growing up. I mean, so for me as a teenager, my dad used to make us watch like people like Marimba Ani, John Henry Clark, Ivan Messer. We had to watch them growing up. You know what I'm saying? It was no choice. We didn't have a choice. You know what I'm saying? And so watching them growing up, and they used to always talk about African culture and what I'm saying, people, being connected. It's a holistic culture and this and that. And I didn't understand. I couldn't comprehend. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I grew up here in America. And it wasn't until I went to Africa, when I went to Ghana, and I was able to see it. I was able to see what they meant. Because like when you go over there, you will see I'm sorry, you will see like a barber shop, and it'll be named Jesus Best Haircut Barbershop. You'll see another barbershop, God's blessed barbershop. Grocery store. This is the best. This is God's faith grocery store. You know what I'm saying? And then it hit me. It's like, oh, that's what they meant when they said that the spirituality, everything is incorporated into their life. It's not separate. And so that's the thing with the with our people. There's a brother named Dr. Zulu. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he wrote a book called Secret Waters of the Desert. And he was a mathematician, and he was explaining how that he was from South Africa, and he was explaining how that and I think it was Basueto. I want to say Basueto. I don't know. I'm gonna butcher that name. He was explaining how in their language that you don't have, in our language, like right now we're talking about metaphysics and science and physics, right? We getting into it. We're talking about that. But then I would say that something like if you will walk 10 paces and you can score a touchdown, it would be nothing with the football. So the conversation would switch to sports, but for them in African language, the conversations don't switch. It don't switch from mathematics to spirituality or to religion or to politics, because in their language, he was explaining how in their language, their language uses mathematical terms all the time. So you could be talking about things and describing a situation, but like for example, we're here in America. We talking about, you're at a cookout. Hey man, go get you a plate of food, man. Hey, we got some good food. We got the ribs over there. Go get you some ribs. For them, they would say, go pour yourself out a plate of food. Go get you a poured plate of food. We say, I'm taking the trash out. They say, I'm pouring the trash out. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different, so they don't, so in their mind, the concept of mathematics, of doing things, of this action is already there. It's not a switch in the conversation. And he was explaining how, you're talking about going around a curve or going up a street, and the word that they use in their language describes you going around a curve. You know what I'm saying? As we use in mathematics, this curve, you're taking the tangent to the curve or whatever, but they don't have to do that. It's already into their language. And so that's what we were talking about, something that's holistic. It's like it's incorporated into the language, it's incorporated into their lifestyle and how they live. You know what I'm saying? It's just their way. It's just their way of living. And so for us, it's broken down. We can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm a teacher. I teach in public schools. We can't talk about. Well, we can talk about math and science, but you can't talk about politics. You can't talk about spirituality or religion. You can't relate the two. It has to be strict into English, math, science, you know, and it has to stay in those fields. Whereas in African culture, it's all one. You don't separate it at all. And I think it won't. Most of us will not understand this until you start reading books on African philosophy. You have to, you know what I'm saying, you have to look into how they approach their, you know what I'm saying, and understanding how they view the world. And that's one of the things that I've been able to grasp as growing up over the years with reading books, you know what I'm saying, by on African philosophy by brothers and sisters that's written books on this subject. And so, you know what I'm saying, getting back to the metaphysics, there's a great book that there's a brother, Dr. Fayola, that came out, that just came out, actually, that came out last year. Dr. Fayola, is called Yoruba Physics. And I'm just trying to grab it real quick because I was talking to somebody. But there's a book called Yoruba Physics, Yoruba Metaphysics by Dr. Fayola. And this is a very good book. This book, he breaks down Yoruba metaphysics. He breaks down the Yoruba spirituality. And even though he's talking about the Yoruba spirituality, you can apply it. You can understand it. You can understand how the ancestors, the people from Kemet, view the world as well. One thing that Dr. Kamalu, the brother Kamalu, in his book Personal Divinity, Person, Divinity, and Nature, he talks about how in African history, our spirituality, our cultural development was interrupted by the Europeans and the Arabs, and we could look at a continuation if we start to connect. You look at Central Africa, you know what I'm saying, you look at East Africa, you look at South Africa, you can see the same similarities in the spirituality, and you would connect them. When things are disconnected and don't make sense, you could find the answers in another system, because basically the fundamental elements of that system, they're all the same. And so when it comes to metaphysics, understanding metaphysics with today's physics, one of the things a brother Stephen Alexandra, in his book Fear of the Black Planet, who's a physicist, I think at Cornell University, he says in his book, he says that, you know, most modern physics is catching up, is in agreement with ancient cultures, which we find out that, you know, most modern physics, they say that, you know, the modern physics today is in agreement what the ancient cultures has said. You know, the university started from a singularity. You know, what they say in Kemet, the university started from noon, from this murky water. That's what modern physics says. Today, the universe started from a singularity, that this mercury type of heated plasma that was in the beginning of the universe. So we can see the connection that they had an understanding of what we know today, but their understanding was a different I guess I would say approach and worldview to it, but it leads to the same principles, I guess I would say. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so the metaphysics of today, the metaphysics, as they would say, you know, the netters. I know on HOK, I think it was with Brother Jabari, they was trying to say, yo, are the netters real? You know, do they actually exist? And I would tell people, of course they're real. I mean, I don't understand. Why would you think they're not real? Ra is the sun. Autumn Ra is the sun. You can wake up every day and you can look at the sun. I mean, come on. Shu is what? They say Shu is what? The wind. You know what I'm saying? Oyemaya is what? The ocean, the water. Shango is what? Lightning. These are the orishas that they were talking about, and it was just actually elements in the environment, elements in nature that actually do exist. So this whole notion that my point of view is that African traditional spirituality, African traditional religions are basically the truth. They they rest on fundamental truth, principle, and foundations. It's not falsehood. It's not something that's you have to wonder about, or like is this possible or could it be? No, I mean, come on. It's based on actual elements in the environment that actually exists, and all you have to do is understand it and apply it. And how they saw the universe is to maintain this balance. You want to maintain a balance and harmony with yourself, the earth, and the universe. So
Beautiful. I love that. With that said, I thank you. I do want to address a couple of things, brother, before you go to You Could Be Up Here. I just wanted to say this. King Simon, shout out to King Simon. I want to make this clear. I'm so glad King Simon came in. When I did, the brother came in, it was kismet, fate that you came in and you added to uncover why I started this stream. You actually were a part of that one build that sparked this stream. So when I talked about, I want to make this clear, when I talked about Bobby Hemmett and Dr. Phil Valentine, and I said they're not physicists, they are metaphysicists, and I want to make it clear that I have the utmost respect for them. I think they're genius. I love their teachings. They are master metaphysicists. But when I was on the conversation after I had seen that one thing about the quantum onlyism, brother, I had a conversation with Sonnetter, and Sonnetter was, and King Simon, if you're still listening, Sonnetter argued me down to the ground that Bobby Hemmett and Dr. Phil Valentine are physicists. And I said, no, they are not. They are metaphysicists. They teach metaphysics. They don't teach, of course. And then we get to where I talked about the reduction to absurdity. And I talked about how you and I both say in African science, there's a blend and there's a comfortable space for metaphysics and physics to exist together. So then that goes back to Bobby Hemmett and Dr. Phil Valentine. So I'm not saying they don't, what I'm trying to get at is I'm not saying they don't know physics. When I talk about people need to take lessons and go to school, I know those two, especially Dr. Phil Valentine, I'm positive, because I am an initiated, a woman of Queen Afua and things like that. So I know that these particular teachers, even Queen Afua, they're not just getting in here not knowing what they're talking about and not doing research. They are very, very wise. They're very, I know people don't like this word, educated. They've done the research. They've done the studies. They know physics. They know metaphysics. So I want to make that clear, because I don't want anybody walking away from this saying, ooh, she was saying Dr. Phil Valentine doesn't even know physics.
You know what?
I'm talking about everybody else trying to follow in their footsteps and not even picking up, basic information. But so shout out to the greats, Dr. Phil Valentine. I would love to bring him back on. It would be an honor to have him on, for him. And I'm going to let you talk about it. For him to sit and tell us the difference. And then like this brother, talk about the merge, the merging of the two and how they exist together. So just want to make that clear. Go ahead, my friend.
And you know what? The most of our elders, from the 70s and up, they didn't have degrees in physics and mathematics.
There weren't formal degrees like that. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, I don't.
But they still know it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm. I don't know. I mean, I don't know who, but I don't know if I would say I don't know if I'm the first. But African centered mind person to have a degree in mathematics. You know what I'm saying? To think the way I think. But yeah, most of our elders, their degrees was in history and philosophy, psychology and stuff like that. It wasn't from the quote unquote hard sciences. You know what I'm
But they
saying?
knew the hard sciences. They learned, they had to get those right. Like it wasn't that. Well, my point is that you agree they were exposed to it. They weren't just like jumping in and not even like you're exposed to it. You
Hmm.
I'm on the right track there,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. I'm exposed to it. I can see it.
Like one of the greats, what is it? Oh my God, I forgot it already. Keep going. I'll remember it. Go
It
ahead.
was it's like brother Renoko Rashidi. I was listening to him one time, and he I don't know and I forgot if he said if it was his son or somebody he was with, and they was over in Kemet, they was over in Egypt, and they was going through the walls, and he was like, the guy was like, hey, wow, this is calculus right here on the wall. If and that was like probably good 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago when I heard him say that. And for so long, I was like, what is he talking about? I mean, what is calculus on the wall? And and it wasn't until I bought the book by the guy Marshall Clegg, I think his name, Marshall Clegg, and I've been finished calculus. But then I was going through the book and I looked and I saw it. And I said, "Oh, okay. Now it said I could see things as a person. It was saying with the math background, I could see things. That's calculus. That's differential equations and topology. I could see it because I've taken them classes and we approach it from that point of view. But you approach it from an African centered point of view, and you're like, wait a minute, hold up. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying. It's like you
Yeah.
have to. I think I'm just saying a lot of our elders didn't have the math background or the physics background, and they wasn't thinking of it from that point of view. They was looking at it as a historian. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
Psychologist and stuff.
I agree with you, but I would and I agree. A lot of them are more philosophical, and we are leaning toward the metaphysical, the philosophical, because we're African centered. Centered, yes. There's African math. Don't come for me, y'all. And and it's elite math. Don't come for me. So anybody trying to say, what are you trying to say? But I'm gonna go by what my brother Asarim Ka said. Several of them know it well. I'm going to venture. I'll go out on a ledge and say this. When I hear people teach, like now I'm getting into metaphysical teachers. Again, I'm talking about Dr. Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett. I know that it would be impossible for them to be on the level of teaching with the metaphysical and the things that they say had they not even had a grasp of physics. Whether or not it is like, I keep going back to you because you're a great example. Whether it's just like they got the basics, like you said, you took a couple courses, that's really what I'm asking for everyone in the community. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but the ones who want to follow in the footsteps of the Bobby Hemmets, the Phil Valentines, the Queen of Fuas, the Renoko Rashidis. The list goes on and on. You know better than me because you grew up. Your father was putting you in front of it. I had to learn it once I entered the names. I knew Bobby Hemmett and Dr. Phil Valentine. I'm not going to lie before, but once I got in, I found out there's so many greats. There's so many great. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, Bear Shango. I can't
Yeah,
forget from.
yeah,
So there's so many greats, and those are the greats though that did sit down and look at everything, and then say, okay, now I'm going into teaching on this level of metaphysics, and not saying that I'm discounting the Eurocentric science. That was easy. Give me something else. You get what I'm saying? It's like there are people getting in and they think they're getting away with it by putting stuff in an AI, and then they're coming in and they're like talking about quarks, and they have no idea of what it is. And it's look, just do me a favor. Be like the old school ones. Don't even bring up a quark. You know what I mean? Just teach
right.
straight from the cuff. Don't tell me that you're gonna use mainstream science with empirical evidence, but you don't know one thing about it. Just I would respect it more if it was like our brother Rod Hayes. I'll respect you if you just kick back and be like, I'm just gonna spit this knowledge to you. And it will be deep too. You'll be like, oh shoot, that made sense. Like my sister Sakina Ra. Sakina Ra will be saying some stuff and I'll be like, what? And then later on I'll go look at it and be like, oh man, I get what kind of like what you said about the calculus, but she's not saying the math stuff. But my point is, if you're going to get in this community and we're all leveling up, if you want to be a teacher of something and use the conventional science, at least just, skim through do a YouTube, like you said, go watch a math class on YouTube. And so I know that they've done that. That was back then, I think teaching was different back in the 60s and I don't know, 50s, 60s, even 70s than it is now. Things are so easily available, which is ironic that people get lazy. They don't even want to read or they don't want to study. They just want to hold on, Chat GPT. Let me put my ideas into AI. I think we should have something called quantum onlyism. I don't even know if he made that up or if that was out there, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that that's something that he created, and that's, whatever. I don't want to sound like I'm beating up one of my fellow pseudos, but it was a bit much for me. So thank you for letting me go on that rant. I really am going to let you close out this time. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I love you. Thank you for being here. Brother, I want to hear about you and what you teach on the closeout, and then I will end this. I'll play a little music in the stream. What do you teach? And thank you for coming up.
So, I mean, for me, I don't know. What do I teach? I mean, for me, I got my math degree, just a couple of years ago, and I've come into this knowledge. I've always been a Pan-Africanist, Black nationalist. Like I said, I'm an Amos Wilsonist. I grew up listening to Marima Ani, John Henry Clark, Ivan Van Sertima. When I got my degree, I just came into the knowledge and I started looking at things differently. So right now, I'm starting to research. I'm going to grad school. I'm applying to grad school. Hopefully I'll be in there next year. My research, as I'm looking into it, is I see the advancement of our ancestors was far was way beyond what white people have the Arabs have said it was.
Right.
And I've proved it mathematically because they themselves have written papers on it. And so I've have several papers that I'm in the process of writing right now, and looking at the advancement of mathematics. And you know what I'm saying, you said you write a book. For me, I taught martial arts for the past 20 years, and now I'm in this public school system. So people tell me I should write a book called the difference, called transitioning from the dojang to public school, and because there's a complete difference in the behavior of our students and our young Black kids that's going through these public schools. And one of the, I guess another book that I've been thinking about writing is the ideas, everything that I've been thinking about mathematically from ancient Kemet, not just from ancient Kemet, but from drawing a line from the Lubombo bone, the Ashango bone to ancient Kemet. It's a complete direct line, and it's a continuism. It's not a break, whereas Western culture, Western philosophy, Western scientists, they try to make it as the Ashango bone, the Bongo bone is completely separate from the people of Kemet, but it's not. And we could prove, and we've proven that, people have proven that is a complete line. So, I mean, my research as a math person is that I think that we have to connect back to what our ancestors were doing, and that was including spirituality into our scientific research as well. because Western culture says you can't do it, but I'm along the line that you can do it. And so that's my focus right now. And I think I've proven it, and I think that we can prove it. And I think that it will make us, it will leapfrog us over everyone else, and it will do us a benefit for the future. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Ashe, thank you so much for joining. Here we have a special treat. Just when I thought this couldn't get any better, King Simon is in the building, the numerologist of all numerology.
Don't do
Peace,
that.
my brother. Peace.
I'm just your brother. Just your brother. Man, some respect to you, man. Thank you very much. Any books you got, man, let me know if it's on Amazon. I always study science. I study metaphysics, science, and I'm proud of whatever you're doing, my brother. Keep on doing it. That's very important because the next 100 years, we're going to have to keep that level of study and research to another level, man. And that's keep on doing what you're doing, my brother. It's the first I'm hearing of you personally. So I'm just, I love when people are doing things, man. And you got mathematics. I love that. Another brother of mine named Joshua Sarah, he does mathematics also. He's a great mathematician and all of that. So, of course, Nepal, big up to you. Respect all the time to you, Nepal, and your whole audience. And big up to Sanet and the whole family. I was, bringing in those elders, man, like working with Delbert Blair, Bobby Hemmett. I only just used to go to the lectures at LIU in different places, but Phil Valentine definitely. Their level of going into libraries and handing in their library card to go and research for hours is different. A lot of people don't realize that. And yes, they did study, especially Dr. Blair and even Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine. They did study science, but they understood our energetic spiritual component to it. Because even when I read Nikola Tesla's autobiography, he also understood that you had to tap into the other side and not just stay on the physical. So I read that autobiography, then I read a biography, but the autobiography is not even that long. So I don't know. There's no excuse for people to not study the maverick scientist himself, Nikola Tesla. You got to go study people like him because they're still using his technology to this day. So, and I think, like I said, a lot of them was autodidactic, of course, self-taught. And I think it's important that people know that a lot of the degrees that, many people came about with, especially in the early times, people were studying, people was researching, people was looking at plants, people was looking at, things that went up and what came back down. And, even before colleges and universities, so I think people need to really give our elders some real deep respect for even going out there and doing it. I'm not talking about anybody on this platform. I'm just saying a lot of people keep on disrespecting our elders and don't realize Runoko Rashidi, and I've worked with him, that told me personally that he had to sneak little cameras in, or they would have killed him or arrested him, to get into certain places and to take those pictures and do certain things. There's a lot that they had to do, man. And I'm just proud of the journey of all of these elders and the young brothers and sisters that are coming up. All you have to do is just add on. Just like back in the 5% day, we just had to add on, bring the knowledge, bring more. Okay, some of them made some mistakes. Some of them missed a few points, but keep on adding on. We don't have to destroy them or try to destroy the knowledge that they have, because they was only working with what they had at that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, brother?
That's a good point.
They're working with, people almost got killed. Even Sheikh Anta Diop, he almost got taken out for a lot of this stuff. Gabriel Aibo almost got killed twice for what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? And until he had to go into hiding. These are elders, man, that has been doing their thing, man. And Phil, Dr. Blair's wife got poisoned.
Oh my! Wow.
His wife got poisoned and died.
What?
His wife got poisoned. That people keep on not realizing that him and his wife got poisoned. He didn't eat the food like she ate the food, and she passed on a couple.
Where did they get poisoned at? A party?
In Chicago at a dinner. But remember, he was teaching he was also not only a pastor. Dr. Blair was also teaching in science. He was also a lab technician. He was studying, an engineer. People don't even know Dr. Blair.
Beautiful. I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful.
know,
So
people
he
don't
knew
know
both
that.
sides. I think that's what makes them masters
Yeah.
is, yes, when you say autodidactic, when you say they are self-taught,
Right.
this is what I needed to, when I say in the title,
Yeah.
I asked, did Bobby Hemmett or Dr. Phil Valentine did they teach academic physics? The straight first easy answer is no. They taught beyond that. That's
Right.
the draw for the video, but they knew, they studied
You
everything.
had to. You had to.
And then they brought it to us. But these people now, and you brought up something, King Simon, that I didn't touch, and I'm glad that, see, this is what this is a beautiful video. I'm glad, because also don't disrespect what Dr. Phil Valentine and Bobby Hemmett do, because you don't mess with that, or all the other greats. This isn't for me to talk about them. I'm letting people know we need, as a community, to do what they did. We need to study both sides. Queen Afua knows both sides. She just brings it to us and says, okay, now let me show you the entirety of the holistic. So yeah, I love that you came in with that.
And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know Queen was married to Phil Valentine first before Baba Heru. So they don't know
Baba
that.
Heru.
And then she went to Baba Heru. Then she went to Baba Heru. So again, a lot of people don't know the because when you book them and bring them into town, you get those side stories at the hotel or at the places or before on the phone, all that kind of stuff. And they're all gonna, everybody's passing on. We're all gonna transition from this realm. But it's important that we keep the integrity of what they taught, because I know Dr. Valentine and Bobby Hemmett and Delbert Blair didn't want nobody to follow them at all. Nobody to be a leader, didn't want to be a leader of anybody's cult or anything like that. So when people from the Nuwapians accused Dr. Valentine of stealing from Dr. York, he said, man, you act like nobody else can go and study when Dr. York had a whole research team. Dr. York had a whole research team of women and other men. I was in that community. I know this from Bushwick. I lived in Bushwick Avenue. So you can't tell me what they had or what they didn't have. Matter of fact, I can call a few of the researchers right now.
No, you hear this? You hear our brother King Simon saying research team. They did the research. They learned about everything. So yeah, so go ahead. I just want to keep pushing that.
And much of people dog out what Dr. York has done. He's researched. He may have blended it with whatever he blended it with, but he did his research because he had a research team and then approved what was to go out there. I heard it from his own ex-wife mouth, who was one of the researchers. So again, I'm glad to have been around since 80s to know that, early 80s, from the 5% to the Ansar to the Nation of Islam and all these different people, and then getting into Phil around about 89 and all of that. So Phil, Dr. Valentine up to this day is still studying, and he would tell you that he's probably forgotten more than he studied. You know what I'm saying? Because
I want to ask you this, since you know him very well.
Yeah.
When in the title, you answer that question. Does Dr. Phil Valentine teach what our brother on the panel calls Eurocentric, mainstream, conventional science, physics? In a nutshell, explain to them and if he does or doesn't, tell us what he teaches. Does he teach that and explain if he does? You know what I'm saying? Does Dr. Phil Valentine, because this is really for Son Netter, I already know the answer. Is Dr. Phil Valentine a metaphysicist or a physicist? Does he teach the metaphysical or the physical? Can you say that, please? And I'm going to mute out and let you go.
He was always taught the metaphysics. That's why they called him the Grand Master of the underground metaphysics. But we got the bomb.
You know I needed to have that bomb right in Son Netter's face.
But again, you got meta and you got physics. Look at Michio Kaku. I put it in if you read his book, Michio Kaku is calling it metamaterial.
I love it. Yes. Wait, I got to drop another bomb. Michio Kaku.
A scientist right here in New York. Teaching,
thank you.
He's calling it metamaterial. So gradually the scientist, the string theorist himself, That's been
Yes.
one of my
Michio Kaku, one of my favorites. Yes.
one of my
yes.
favorites. Born January 24th. You know, I know their birthday.
I know you're gonna do. Okay, keep going. There we go.
You know me.
What? Okay, so keep going. Keep cooking.
And-
We're talking
and
about Dr. Phil Valentine, and
Dr.
he's a
Valentine
metaphysicist. I need to get that out.
From a holistic perspective, that's what metaphysics is. Because remember,
Yes, sir.
he's also a hygienics, holistic person. He's also a naturopathic hygienicist.
Yes.
So he studied the physical, but he also have to study what is the root beyond the physical. Because there's something that even before a person get a disease, there's something that happened. You could even be a thought. You could be depressed, and you could attract some type of disease in your body.
That's true.
He has to go into those levels. So he could be metaphysics and he could be a physics, but his primary source, his primary information has always been metaphysics, which means beyond the physics. Don't mean he don't teach physics. He's just teaching beyond the physics. What's the depth of it? What's the root of it? What's the spiritual side, the energetic spirit? Because spirit is only energy. It's not no hocus pocus. It's only energy. And I remember reading Africa Counts by Claudia Vasquez. You know what you're talking about, right? Yeah. And Dr. John Henry Clark did the introduction to this thing and talked about the mystical meanings of this and what we did as far as numbers are concerned and what we did on levels of of mathematics. Even Fibonacci, we know Fibonacci did not do it himself. He found it from the Moors or the Muslims. And then, Muslims, those Moors or those melanated people of that time were studying the patterns from the turtles and patterns from the snail and all these things. So we pick up on nature. And we brother, go ahead. I'm sorry, Max.
It's funny you brought that up because I had to take a class called History of Mathematics.
Yes.
And so my actual name, my born name is actually Hercules.
Oh, okay.
And my professor was Greek, and when he saw my name, he was like, "Wait." He's like, "Yo, wait, I'm from Greece." He said, "I'm Greek." I was like, "For real?" He's like, "Yo, you heard me?" And so we kind of connected on that. But one of the things that we talked about was that there was actually no way to distinguish between what the Greeks learned in Kemet and what the Greeks did on their own.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then when I had to do a paper for the class, and I was doing my research paper, and one of the papers that I read was written by a professor, Dr. Victor Ketz,
mm-hmm.
who was like when I first went to college at UDC here in Washington, D.C., he was my professor.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that he wrote this paper at the time. You know, I discovered, and he in the paper he was talking about, you know, the early calculus in Africa that happened before Newton.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I was reading it, you know, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Whoa, hold up. And it just made me think about, like, okay, you know, the Greeks, you know, they stole shit. They claimed it for themselves.
Yes, they did.
You know, and I haven't been able to have the time to really dig deep into it. Mm. But I feel personally, I definitely feel that Newton, Bernoulli, and Isaac, and not Isaac, Lispix, and all these guys got their information from North Africa at the time, which was the mecca of science and mathematics when Europe was coming out of the Dark Ages.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was the mecca at the time, and it was. I remember John Henry Clark saying that, you know, at this time before slavery, it was books that was more valuable than anything. And I remember him saying that, and I was like, wait a minute. And then, you know what I'm saying, just reading the book, it was a book by I think it's the brother Robert Walker or somebody of Blacks in Science.
Yeah, Robert Walker from England.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him on my show.
And it's like, wait a minute. Because let me tell you this, because at the end of the class, you know, the professor asked everybody, you know, how do you feel about the class? Yo, what y'all think? And I said straight, it was me and one other Black person in the class. I said straight up. I said, look, I feel like either white people are dumb or y'all lying about history. And I left. And I walked out. I said, I'm out. And he hit me up later. It's like, Hurt, yo, you can't just leave like that. I said, no, man. I said, for real. Because if you look up today, every research paper written on mathematics is written by 3 to 4 different people.
Right.
But yet back then, you got only one person coming up with all these different mathematical concepts and conclusions by themselves. They had nobody else working with them. Nah, man. Either y'all became dumb over the time or y'all lying about some shit. That was my conclusion. That was my conclusion. It's like, how could they come up? Bernoulli. I mean, everywhere you look at in math, like you see the name Newton, you see the Leibniz, you see Bernoulli, you see Lagrange, you see all these names in from calculus to differential equations, to topology to real analysis. All this stuff, they have their names on everything. It's like, how y'all got your names on everything and y'all did it by yourselves. And the thing that pissed me off was the guy Leibniz. Leibniz, he was a lawyer. He only decided to get in mathematics after he got his law degree. Then he got into mathematics and he came up with all these informations on calculus. Never did math in his life before that.
Wow.
I was like, how does that make sense?
That is crazy.
So that's one thing. I mean, that's one thing I really want to I need to go in depth to the research. It's like, come on, man, you guys, y'all BSing on something, yo.
I mean, I remember watching before they started doing AI. I remember watching Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about the symbols of Sankofa and how powerful those symbols are, and where that they said that a lot of the patterns and symbols that they've studied look like similar to those Sankofa symbols that they've seen in science. So you can't negate all of what regular sciences are talking about, but what the metaphysical scientists have been talking about, and what the ancient indigenous ones of Kemet and throughout the continent, and even on this side of the planet Earth, even into Mexico and all the mound building and all that kind of stuff, it's there to see. You know, it's all. I remember Brother Panic talking about we learn through symbolism, trauma, and repetition. Symbolism, trauma, and repetition we learn. So for either people to either get into understanding science in any way, it has to be repeatable, observable, and measurable over time. All of this is basic science. Even when I do it with numerology, I look at the repetitiveness of it. I observe it over time in celebrities and family and all kinds of, and I also measure it and show how it does apply. Even people could call numerology pseudo, but numerology only means the study of numbers. That's all it means. So,
brother, let me ask you, have you seen it in your life? The repetitiveness in your life?
Of course, to this day. Now that I'm back I'm 59 now. I've been seeing the repeating of it coming back, even with family members, myself, my health. And when I know I'm going into a health cycle, I do certain things different and I get to offset that and get away from it. So you got to know you got to know how our ancient ancestors were able to look at pattern cycle sequences that can cause probability, statistics, and possibilities. This is what it's all about with science and metaphysical science. So I love, and somebody talk about credentials. I said, my credentials is studying nature for 10,000 hours, studying numbers for 10,000 hours. You know, just like a master in martial arts, they get their degree. But I don't mind. I'm not against people going to college, but I didn't go to a metaphysical university. The only metaphysical university out there, again, in Phoenix, Arizona, is owned by white folks. Phil Valentine told me, those things are watered down, because one thing about Phil and his metaphysical university on uksnow.org, he back in the day used to take you into the park to go and see it for yourself, to show you the different movements of plants and how to grasp them and what's their reaction. You start seeing the energetic movements and thing of the plant life. He used to take you to do certain things back in the day in the 80s. So, a lot of people don't realize that, sometimes it's about you going to do the in-depth research. Go into university if you have to. Go in there like a spook who sat by the door. Dr. Africa did it. Went into a university because he knew that our people, like people in the chat might say, your credentials. Dr. Africa went and got the credentials because he know our people need to see the white coat and they need to see that. And he taught his students, Dr. Africa taught his students to go and put on the white coat if you have to, because our people are so psychologically, mentally messed up that they believe in the white coat and a stethoscope around your neck first before they believe in what you're teaching. Even if you went in the fields and learned from your grandmother about the herbs and the spices and all of that stuff, you got to go and put on this white coat. So that's why Dr. Africa went and got his credentials. He went and got it. He said, get that. All right.
Let me say something to my let me just say, I mean, when I was young, my dad introduced me to numerology before I got into mathematics.
Oh, really?
And, I think I was like 19. I think I was like probably 19 years old, and I had the book. Brother. I forgot the name of it. It was called Numbers and You.
Yeah, Lloyd Strayhorn. That's my Bible.
Yeah. So he gave me that book, and he's like, you need to read this. And I admit, I think I was 19, but I think it took a good 10 years.
Here it is.
9 years before it seeped in. You know what I'm saying? Before it came in. And let me tell you, family. Let me tell you right now. I ain't paid rent in 10 years. I've been all over this world. I've been to South Africa. I've been to South Asia, and I ain't paid a dime. And it's all because I understood which women that I had to deal with and which women I don't get along with.
That's right.
And once I understood that, when I was like in my late 20s, I only messed with certain women, and certain women would do things for you.
Right.
I had women pay for my whole tuition straight up. I was like, I gotta take these 4 classes, man. And they was like, man, ain't nothing. They wrote out the check, pay for it whole straight up, because I understood because I only deal with women that had certain birthdays was born in certain years. So when they say numerology, when you say numerology is real, numerology has an effect on people. You associate with different people. It's true. Right. From a personal point of view.
Oh no, it works.
It works. And I told my kids the same thing. I told my daughter the same thing, my son the same thing. All the kids that I've promoted the black belt, before they got their black belt, I had them write out a journal.
Right.
And they documented it when they was a brown belt, they documented, right, you know what I'm saying, things that happened in their lives. Yeah. And I showed them, you know what I'm saying? And I showed them, like, look, obviously you don't get along. You know what I'm saying? I broke it down for them. And so, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, numerology is real. It's a real thing. And just because Western culture does not validate it, right, doesn't mean that we should like just toss it to the side. You know what I'm saying?
And brother, that's why I wrote my book, Numerovation for Mental Stability, showing you the numbers and the possible way you could attract either mental stability or mental instability. That's why I wrote my book. This is the only book of its kind out here now, because Lloyd was my teacher. You know what I'm saying? And since 1989. And he told me, he said, Simon, you're that good, you need to write a book. And to the point that I wasn't a formal student, like all in his classes like that. But by the time I got up there, he said, yo, come and teach. He let me teach a class in City College when he was teaching a class on numerology and metaphysics. And I was, but I had to write my book, man. And that's what I put. My first book was Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. Because that's what 1 plus 1.
I love that I could bring, I didn't know you two didn't know each other. I would love to see you two build. Maybe you could get him, because the brother did a presentation. I don't know if he mentioned on Zonetter.
No, I didn't see it. I got to get your information, brother. Nepal, you know him personally? You know the brother personally?
Oh, Sonetter knows it. You know Sonetter. Sonetter has the brother's information,
Okay.
but I don't. But you could just, I would like for you to just exchange.
Yeah.
I would love to see him on your
I'll put my
show.
email in
King
the back
Simon
chat.
has a great show. Huh?
Yeah, you can put it in the private chat.
I did my presentation was on African black mathematics, black science and stuff.
Oh man, I'd love to see that.
That's what I did.
You're talking to a number file right here, a numero file. But we have possibly two numero files, but King Simon is the numero file of all numero files.
I'll put my number in the back chat if you want to, just text me.
It says,
I love it. I love it.
Is it the 347 one?
Yeah, the 347. That's my
okay, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's a public number anyway. That's a public number. But no, I really appreciate. I love math. I've been loving math since I was a child, and I never became what they call a mathematician. But when I got into numbers and numerology from the 5% Nation, teaching it, the mathematics back in the day when I was 14, and then my grandmother always recognizing people's birthday. People just got to realize that whatever birthday or your name that is also connected to numbers, that vibration carries with you. As long as you keep on saying it over and over and over again, these patterns will start recognizing. You start seeing the patterns and cycles and sequences of the positive and the negative coming to you. Let me say this all transparency, because I said it before on my show. The two of my son's mothers, two of my children's mothers, not son, two daughters' mothers, two of my daughter's mothers. They were born. Three of my mothers, three of the mothers of my children, they were born under the challenge number. Now, I was dabbling, playing with numerology, but I never did it with them. And then to come to find out that they were my challenge numbers, that I should have avoided them later on. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And those are the same three that took me to child support.
Oh, wow.
The ones that took me to child support.
Yep.
The same ones.
The challenge, y'all.
I said, damn, I should have looked at this from now, but I was in the club, I was doing my life, I was having fun, and I should have looked at it from there. I was just enjoying my life, man. I wasn't doing all that, but I could attest what you said, brother, because you can attract your challenges and you can track your power, and that will support you. So I've been doing this since '89, so I know that it's been working. Iyanla Van Zandt is one of Lloyd's clients. Wesley Snipes, even when he warned Wesley about what was going on, and Wesley he got caught up there. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So we're not thinking that these things are dealing with patterns, cycles, and sequences. This is not psychic. We're looking at patterns, cycles, sequences, statistics, possibilities, and realizing that, we can actually attract certain things that we don't need in our life, even to bad health, even to bad health.
Yeah.
If I'm born on the 1st of February, if I didn't protect my circulation by increasing my garlic intake, my cayenne pepper intake, or my turmeric intake, things that keep my circulation, ginger intake, I started doing
garlic too.
And the garlic too, and
happy belated birthday, by the way. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, man. And doing the exercise that I need to protect my prostate and all that, because I looked at the numbers and seen that I could attract these things on a negative level. If you do that, believe me, you could pinpoint, because just like you got a lot of y'all look at the weather, y'all look at weather reports. That's a meteorologist predicting weather. What are you talking about? Numerology is just the GPS. It triangulates where you're going on and take you to where you got to go. Some people don't need to use the GPS. I'm cool. But if you turn on that GPS, you want to get one. We used to use Rand McNally. We used to use stars and sun and moon and all that kind of stuff. So, I love this conversation. Thank you very much, Nepal, for bringing me on, of course. And
always
come on my channel, King Simon Presents. That's my channel on YouTube, or KSP TV Media on YouTube. And we're doing a lot, bro. So we got some great things coming up. Did you text me, brother?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yes. Let me make sure. I got Dr. B coming up. I got a few other people, coming up, and I'm waiting for. Please tell your husband that I'm trying to get him on. Why he playing with me? I don't know why.
Why is he playing? Why won't he go do that? I don't. He likes to be the host, and he's out of his element when he's not the host and he's the guest. But he'll come on. I'm going to tell him tonight. I'm
He
gonna
know
tell
I'm
him
gonna
tonight.
treat him real good. He know me. I treat my channel ain't about no drama. So
Oh
come
no,
on.
he knows you guys are friends. It's just that he's more. I don't know. When he gets interviewed, he has to be more of himself offline. I think he
Right.
can't be that boisterous and real animated. Hey everybody, and what? So he has to be more of himself, and I don't think he likes to. It's like that Michael Jackson kind of thing. I know people might be laughing, but I'm being serious. Like he doesn't. I don't think he feels fully comfortable sharing,
Yeah, I know.
really sharing himself, but he'll do it with you. He'll do it with you.
Yeah.
He will.
And
I'll
brother
tell him
Mansa,
tonight.
I didn't get brother Hercules, brother Mansa. I did not get your text. I'm here looking at my phone. It didn't come through. 347-496-1022. I can say it because that's my business line and my other line. But if you text me for a numerology consultation, I don't do readings. I do consultation because I want to consult you on how to move with your numbers. That's what I'm showing here. I'm not here to do all that kind of reading. I'm not no palm reader. I'm not big up to them, but I don't do that. I'm telling you, all of the presidents, J.P. Morgan, all of them understood this stuff. They
But
did
let
it.
me say this about you, King Simon. I'm going to be real, and I mean this.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
when you give him your numbers, don't be surprised if he doesn't peer right into your soul, because this brother is he is really the real deal. He can really pull it out. So that's another reason why Sonetter might not want to get up there.
And I'm not going to talk about his numbers. I'm just talking about his life and bigging him up for what he has done. That's all I'm going to do.
No,
That Tuesday show is called Today's Consciousness in the Conscious Community. How can we heal it? And how can we change it?
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. I got to bring you on because you've been a great part of this going on lately.
I was going to say, I want you to you don't have my new information, so I got to get that number too. I don't think you have my new phone number.
No,
but
you change your number like the CIA chasing you. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I had to change it for a while. It was rough. You forgot that rough patch we had.
That's right.
Everybody and their mama was calling me. I was like, Lord, I gotta help get me out of here. Let me give you my number in the back. You can have it. There I am. That's me. I think you got it there.
I don't see it here. No.
It says King Simon Presents.
You sent it in the back. I didn't.
In the private chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at the private chat. It's not coming through. I see
That's
mine.
interesting because you didn't see his either, huh?
I didn't see it. Oh, he put it in the private. Yeah, I didn't see his either. No, I only seen. She gone. But brother, I appreciate what you're doing, man. I definitely but I got you now, brother. Got you now. 202.
Okay. You see, yeah.
That's it. So I'm gonna send me a link to your books if you have it on Amazon. I like to check out. I like to read before I bring people on. So
I don't have any books yet. I'm
okay,
right
so
now.
when it comes out, man. But whatever, we just want to talk. I just want to talk and build with you and let the knowledge flow, man. Have fun with the numbers, baby. Because remember, numerology is a study of numbers on different levels. Yeah. It's not one level. keep
That's
on
right.
And numbers, mathematics is the foundation of every science, even the metaphysics science.
Yeah.
Get to this.
Yes, sir. I got yours, King Simon. I want to say to both of you gentlemen, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you up here. King Simon, I have yours. Yours hasn't changed.
Text me. Yeah, I don't change.
I'm going to text you. Yours hasn't changed.
My number has been around for at least 15, 20 years.
Listen, I was changing my number. Like I said, people were calling me, this is your last day. I was like, oh God, let me change my number.
Yeah,
like I know you. They would say, I know you know where polite is. I was like, okay, this is getting crazy.
Yeah.
I know. I know, right? The conspiracy theories never end. So I will definitely get in touch with you.
And people argue with me about promoting polite. I said one thing I will never regret being a good promoter, and people use me because I was a good promoter. It's only two people that might have went down the bad road out of everybody, but out of all, nobody was complaining when I was promoting for the Jews at SOBs or the Italians at Irving Plaza in the Palladium. Nobody's
you.
I wasn't arguing with that, but they argue with these Negroes in the quote unquote so-called community. It's crazy.
Get them, King Simon. I need that on the closeout. I'm so slow with but let me say something. I am so slow with the bombs, y'all. But you know what? That's what I'm saying. So a lot of stuff went down, but we walked through this fire, and here we are still standing. So there we go.
That's why I don't argue with people, because
let's not forget the Paul knows what flight is.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I know what.
Paul know where Polite's at.
We all
Oh
know
yeah,
where he at.
he's in the jail, like King Simon said, my number has changed, so I don't get any more of those crank calls. I'm old school, you know. They don't even say crank calls anymore, y'all.
Right.
You guys know what crank calls are. They
Yeah,
don't call them
exactly.
crank calls.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself. Crank calls. What do they call them now? Trolling.
I'm like Professor Griff. We have our numbers from if you're gonna come on us, come right, come respectful, or don't leave us alone. You know,
right.
I know who I am, and I know who Griff was. I know who all these people, man. You know, and I'm you know, that's why I want to have Sonetta on the show, not to talk about those days, but to talk about his willingness to even go out there on that street back in the day.
Yeah.
From coming out.
I love to hear you guys talk. It's great because you go so far back. And you know what, King Simon, also, I'm going to say this in front of everybody. Yeah. We're going to be doing, this is from Sonnet, or what he's saying. We're going to be doing an in-person thing soon. We got to do a House of Consciousness in-person thing.
Yes.
So I'm hoping you will be there. And, you know, I love to hear him talk to you guys, his original crew, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I'm back in New York right now, handling some business with my mother. So I'm back in New York for a while. So I'm here. So I'm not in Georgia right now.
Yay! So, I didn't know that. Okay.
But you ain't in New York. You in New York?
How do you know? I told you people don't know my business. I'll be saying I'm not in New York, and I'll be sitting right there in Harlem.
How's your babies? How's your babies doing? Your two children? How they doing?
Oh my gosh, they're good. My daughter, we just did you know, we have on my dad's side, we're Hispanic. We did her quinceañera, and for me, it was a big deal. People are like, why are you doing that? Are you spending that money on da-da-da-da-da? It's just a thing that we do. So that was something because when you said babies, she just had her quinceañera recently. She's 15, and that's my youngest, my son.
That's the one born on the 19th. Yes.
I
ain't say the whole birthday. I just remember.
I know. I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and end this stream. He seems to not understand. These fools will go look up my baby for months. Now they know.
But why I said
it's that? Okay. It's okay.
I can't wait to see what she turns out to be being born under that 19 energy, because that 19 energy is one of, in numerology, that's one of the most best numbers to be born under if you use it correctly.
Oh wow, that's you know what? That's beautiful. You told me that before.
To number one, break down to the 10, because 10 is a wheel of fortune energy, and then the 1. So the 3 levels of the 1 is there. As long as
10 is the wheel of fortune energy.
Yeah, because he's born on the 19. 1 + 9 = 10. 19 is the number that shines light on things, but it's one of the numbers. It's a karmic number, but you always got to be on your good.
So if I have a 10 on my birthday.
Well, I know what 10 months
you're 10? You're 10?
She born on the 10.
Yeah, I'm a 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was born on the 10. Yeah. I've been telling her about, because she could get extreme, so I know she's going through the extremities sometimes, so she got to stay focused.
You know how you in the store, or you hear your parents talking to another parent, mothers usually say, these children are driving me crazy. That's how I feel about the internet. I was like, this internet has driven me, it's trying to drive me crazy, but I won't let it, because there's always that last bit. Yeah.
Because you remember years ago, I said you was born with an alignment number 7. So I'm not going to say, but 7 is one of the mental health numbers in my book. You have to protect your mind.
Yeah.
Let it go and release all this. After you come off, you should go meditate. You should do a lot. After you come off,
I do all of that, but still I have to come right back the next day or right after the next. Come on, my mind is like, well, we're only human. No, just kidding. So it's good. It's all good. But you're right. I do have to reset, recalibrate, and that goes for everybody. Yeah.
And not everybody does it, but people like you have to do it, because there's prominent numbers that says you have to do it. That lets me know that you could attract certain things if you don't do it. And
awesome.
Mental depression can come. In my book, Family Numerovation for Mental Stability, the primary numbers, now although all numbers have their health issues, the primary numbers for mental health is 4, 7, 8, 5, and 3. 5 and 3 are the last on the total pole, because they usually suffer from nervous issues, nervous breakdowns. And I could go to celebrities and all of that to show you the patterns of them that went through that.
Oh wow! Like Britney Spears, is she a 5?
I got to look up her birthday. I would have to look up her birthday. I know what's the name went through it. Walt Disney, he born on the 5th. I know. I knew that Robin Williams went through it. He was born on the 21st. 2 + 1 = 3. I see. I started studying the patterns. Even Little Richie went to it. He was born in the fifth also. He went to it because he thought he.
You know what I just thought of right now?
Yeah.
All of my children, well, both of my children and me, we both, the days that we have both equal, all of them are 10.
Wow.
Oh, tell me, what does that mean? It's all 10. Like one of them is a 20, one is a 28.
28. That's another level.
And then the other one is, like I said, 19, and then 19. I'm 10.
With all, and those are 3 levels of 10, because 28 has its own distinct meaning in compound numerology. 19 has its own distinct meaning. Then the 10 has its own distinct, and then 1. So when I even do a session, a lot of numerologists like to break it all the way down to the 1, but 28 in compound numerology has its own distinct meaning. You can't just you can't just break it down to 1 without looking at the meaning, because that energy can be attracted to it when you're breaking down the interpretation. So I look at all of them. I look at the 28, the 10, the 1. I look at the 19, the 10, the 1. If you're born on the 10th, I look at the 10 and the 1, but I also look at the month you're born, the year you're born, your name, and all the numbers connected to the letters. You got to look at all of it. You can't. That's awesome. Dr. Africa taught me years ago to look at it from a holistic perspective. WHOL. That's what Doc told me. So
I love it. Wow. You know what? Let me tell you something right there where you said that. I would love to hear more teachings about the different breakdowns of the different, like the 9 and the 1, the 1 and the 9, the 2 and the 8, the 7 and the 3. They all go to the 10, but you have an intricate breakdown of how they are. That's awesome.
Because a lot of people don't know that 28 is called the divorce number. So that not just divorcing a relationship if that relationship is not satisfying to you, but divorcing yourself from negative people, negative situations.
Oh, wait. So that's somebody who does that? That's somebody who does that often?
What? No, I'm saying, no, your son being born on 28 have to be very careful of the company he keeps.
Oh, let me tell you, he is golden. Let me drop a bomb for King. I told you King Simon is the one. Let me talk to you for a second here. My son refuses. It doesn't matter. It can be a wedding. It could be a funeral. It could be a birthday. It can be his own thing. He will not go to anything that he doesn't want to be around certain people. He says, no. I have begged him in tears before, like, please, let's go. It's so-and-so's graduation. I can't go without you. He won't do it. He's like, no, I'm not going. I'm not going to be around them. I don't want to. And so for you to say that, you hit it. You just told the truth. I told you he's on point. This is exactly him.
And it's in my book too. On page 73 is in my book. So
and I have your book somewhere in here. I have it. I got to get my library.
For mental stability, family. This one because
wow. But you know what though? I didn't. But not the 28, is it?
The 28.
I must have not noticed it because you know. And I didn't read your whole book. I'm gonna be real, but let me say this: I do have it. I got it when I first met you, because I loved what you said. But King Simon, you just hit it on the head. That is a type of, so what do you mean? Like they make that effort to stay away, or they should stay away and they don't?
Remember, the numbers are pointing out the positive and the negative. If they decide to go down the road, sometimes they end up in a lot of divorce and relationship problems. But if they've seen good relationships prior to them getting into relationship themselves, they also got to be very careful of who they attract and who they allow, because again, that number 28 in compound numerology is called the divorce number. So they got to either divorce themselves from people and places that don't serve them well, or divorce themselves from negative situations and negative.
Oh my God, I love it. No, I got to drop a bomb because you made me think of something else. Oh my goodness.
You need bombs.
No, I love the bombs. Listen, even if he heard me talking about this, be like, just don't even talk. I don't want to be a part of that. Don't talk. He had a girlfriend, his first girlfriend. He was in love with her. She did one thing and she was gone. And he didn't. And I was like, are you sad? He's like, why? What do you mean? Nope. That's true.
Let me
So
read
he
something.
does that.
Let me read something too. I said in my book, according to older studies of numerology, the number 28 indicates loss through trusting in others, opposition through competitors in industry, and dangers of loss through legal matters. The number 28 person should have strategic plans and goals for the future, or he or she can suffer loss and end up starting life's road all over again.
Oh, wow. That is so deep. And you know what? That's another thing. He's always so, maybe I got to give myself a pat on the back. He's always like, nope, I'm not doing, I tried it. I'm not doing it. I'm staying on this. And so that's interesting. Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Rakufu came in a lot. Listen, we just got a whole session's worth. We got like $1,000 worth of numerology session right now. This is awesome. King Simon is a serious numerologist. If you're interested, again, King Simon, tell the people how to get in touch with you.
Oh, you can text me. Yeah, text me. Don't call me. I don't just answer strange calls. So you text me your full name, date of birth, and an email, and I'll text you the details, and email you the details. And remember, once everything is settled, then I'll set the appointment for you. I got 10-minute sessions, which are 10 and 15-minute sessions, which are pre-recorded. You get to ask questions, text me questions, and we do the answer. But 30-minute and 60-minute sessions, you get to talk to me directly, ask me whatever question you want. I just remind people that this is not psychic. I'm paying attention to patterns, cycles, and sequences in your life to help you navigate better. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you to be better. I'm not taking you away from any religion. I got Muslims, Hebrews, and Christians as clients. I got Buddhists as clients. So I got no problem with dealing with people. I even had to do a Muslim with the Hijra calendar. So whatever number you bring to me, I'm not an astrologer. I'm a numerovator. Numerovation. I created the word, put it in the lexicon dictionary. The algorithm is building right now because the word numerology was created and coined by a doctor named Julia Seaton back in 1907. It's not a Pythagorean thing or a Chaldean thing. The name numerology comes from a woman that came up with it, and after she studied with the great numbers vibration studier, that's all she used to call it, Miss Dow Bellett, and she studied and then she coined the word numerology. When I studied, even Lloyd didn't know that, and that Lloyd is my teacher.
Wow,
numeration. I like to cross reference.
Okay, King Simon, brother, before I forget, I'm putting numerovation, right? I always mess it up.
Yeah, numerovation. Numerovatation. Numerovation.
NUMERO.
Right. VATOTION. Right.
Okay, and give me your phone number so I can put this in the chat. How they can text you to get in touch with you.
347 496 1022.
1022. Okay, that is in the chat right now. I'm going to summer jam it. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. Do not call him, text him, because he's not. He wants to see everything like he said. You heard him. I don't need to repeat it. So let me get this up here. And why is YouTube not letting me post this? Is it because I put a phone number?
They know I'm here.
That's crazy. Wow. Go ahead. Thank you so much, King Simon. I think Rakufu wants to say something. Then we are going to close out. This is great. This is a great treat to have you and the brother Mansu Hercules on. Go ahead, Rakufu.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, King Simon, would you agree?
Yes, sir.
That, because I'm looking at the pyramid, and I'm looking at a pyramid as a scale model for societies in general. You got the bottom, the masses, the middle working, and the top elite.
Yes, sir.
So would you think math runs something like that? And like with, you got multiplication, subtraction at the bottom, then maybe, addition, subtraction at the bottom, maybe multiplication, division in the middle.
I can't hear you. You just broke up. Say it again.
I'm sorry. So, calculus and pi, I would say, is like the top of the pyramid.
Right.
Then you would have like division, multiplication in the middle, and then you would have addition and subtraction as a base of math.
Foundation, right.
Right. So my thing is, it's not always the majority that are the best. Sometimes the unique are only in the small file.
In the details. In the details. That's right. That's right.
All right.
In the details. And you know what's so funny, brother? They used to say the devil's in the details, and when you look it up as its origin, it says God is in the details before they made it the devil.
Wow, see how they play.
How can the devil be in the details according to religious theology when God created the devil?
Fact.
I mean, according to religious theology, I'm just saying. But but brother, but the mathematician right there, he can. I know I'll pass it to people that are doing that mathematics in a certain way. Like I said, I do numbers and I motivate you with your numbers. I don't care if you bring a spiritual name. I don't care if you bring a religious name. I want you to bring your mama and daddy's name, the one that they gave you, because sometimes the energy of that name is also something that you have to heal from and grow from. Mm-hmm. Because we like to change our name. Look, I changed my name to Muslim names when I was in the Ansar, 5% names when I was in the 5%, Moorish names when I was studying the Moor. I've changed my name all the time, but I still had to come back to what my mother and father gave me so I can heal and find those patterns that are still coming to me, because that's what they called me from when I came through the wound of our mother and the scrotum of my father.
That's beautiful.
It almost reminds me
Yes,
the Chinese, what is it called? The I Ching.
I Ching, yeah. I Ching.
What is it? Oruifa?
Oruifa, right. Oruifa. But that, remember, it all has mathematics.
That's right. That's why. Yeah.
You remember the I Ching comes from the studying of the turtleback.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, that's interesting, because the Native Americans. The Native Americans do that too. They study the turtleback, or they have, if they find that there's sacred, geometry in it. Go ahead.
Exactly. Sorry. I got Japanese numerology books. I got Chinese. I've been gematria, Kabbalah. But with my sessions family, let me let you know, I keep it simple. I keep it with the Chaldean and the Pythagorean, because if I get into too much of the deep stuff, some people get afraid of where you can go with a lot of that. To the point that some people think it's morbid, because, people be predicting when the world trade get destroyed and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to see talk about the world trade. I want to see how your world trade can be built, not you being destroyed. I want you to make sure you recognize where you're going. Like, remember that song? Do you know where you're going to?
That's Diana.
You gotta know this.
You know King Simon, I'm not dropping a bunch of bombs because then people want to hear you, but you are dropping some bombs right now. So gosh, I love it. I love it. If you want to see more, we'd love you too. If you want to see more King Simon, like I said, please go to his channel. Say it again.
King Simon Presents. It's right here. King Simon Presents. I just had on Nathan Ingram from the Deadly Arts of the Martial Arts. That's a good friend of mine. I had him on my show. Light Burley, I just had on my show. And, I trained martial arts for years. So, big up to all of them on the Sanukas Rue. I'm on the Sanukas Rue family. So, big up to Dr. Moses Powell, the late, great Dr. Moses Powell, and Soaking Little John. Those are my family. That's family right there. We got, Soaking Little John used to beat us with that bamboo stick.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And When Worlds Collide, big up to Anthony Muhammad. I was just with Professor Bill today, getting some good information. So, man, it's all about the training for me, man, right now. And like I tell people, I train not for the belts. I train to get home safely to my family.
Right.
Oh, that is beautiful. And with that said, I'm going to leave you on. Okay, the very last bomb I'm dropping, because you've been saying all these. This is the bombs to everybody, not just King Simon. Everybody who came in with information, the brother Mansa Hercules, the brother coming in, eating his dinner, but still joining us, Rakufu. That's all good. All love, everybody. Peace and love to the HOK.
Make sure they shout out their businesses so we all get it. You know what I'm saying? Let's let these brothers shout out their stuff, man. We know
Rakufu's up, but he just probably came from over on Sonetter's show. Rakufu, what do you do, by the way? Yeah, what do you do? What business? Do you want to shout out?
Well, I do. I'm an appointment setter for contractors.
Oh, wow.
So I run out every day. I work about 20, 30 minutes, set 2 or 3 leads, and I'm finished for the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can get here and do some real knowledge, huh?
Yeah, so I can get here.
Yo, no, that's good, man. I tell you, a Jewish guy once told me years ago, you gotta set up a business that you could only work 4 hours for the whole day and go back to your family and do what you got to do. They serious about that.
Real.
They don't want to work all 40 hours a year, 40 hours a week, and all. They ain't doing that. At least
that's great. We all have to get to that. Now, listen, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody who is doing Sabbath, since you did bring up Jewish, and peace to our African family, Mansa Hercules. You closed out. We got King Simon. Did you want to say anything before I go? Because I'm really gonna close it down now. Because Sonetter's gonna be coming in here, pushing up this "the end" sign. I sign. You know how Sonetter comes in and then he starts just saying,
Black
he
power.
won't do that.
Black
he
power.
won't do that. Yeah, Black Power. I think he's live right now. He's live.
He might be live right now because last night my Pistons ran his Knicks.
Oh, he is, because he's talking about March Madness. Thank you. Yes, he's talking about basketball. So peace to everybody who is not talking about basketball. I want to let you know, you and I love you. I'm right here eye to eye with you. Everybody isn't into sports. I know look, ladies, don't come for me. Right. My mom will come for me because my mother is a big basketball fan, but I don't know what sports does to men. It's something we have to study. I don't know.
I've never been too much into sports, only to the fighting sports. That's the only thing basketball and football. I've never been into that. But Ramadan Kareem to all the Muslims out there. If you celebrate Ramadan.
Oh, yes, Ramadan. Say it again.
Ramadan Kareem or Ramadan Mubarak. But anybody celebrating, blessed Ramadan, a gracious Ramadan to those Muslims out there, the nation, all of the 72 sects, all of them. Big up to all of them.
Oh, only 72.
That's right. What they say. Anyway. That's what they say. It's 72 according to the studies. It's 72 sects.
Ironically, that's how many wrote the Bible, right? 72 or
say again?
Oh,
I said ironically, that's how many wrote the Bible. 72 or
the
70?
72 writers of the Bible. You mean 70? The 70?
Oh,
it's like the translated
that's what I meant.
The Septuagint. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, we have the number. Look, we could stay up here infinitely, no pun intended. But the numbers are matching a lot. So, but y'all.
Oh, one last thing, Nepal. Let me ask King Simon. King Simon, I know you heard of the brother Ra'u Nepha'amin, the elder.
Yes, of course.
Set aside. So it was a divine thing he had said that I felt was divine or lofty philosophy when he said 0 to 9, not 1 to 10. The Romans had it backwards. Yeah. They were into the objective realm where something you can touch, feel, or see. The 0 is the subjective where the creator, we can't see it, but we know beyond the Stargate it's there.
Right, exactly.
It's 0. And it's ironic that all numbers from the sun being 0 to the 9th planet Pluto, 0 to 9.
0 to 9. In my book, I talk about the 0 to 9, everything emerging from 0. Wow. Because I've read books on the concept of 0, because a lot of people think it actually comes from India, but it's if you're going to build anything, you have to have a 0 point. So anytime we built any pyramids or any mound, we had to understand where the 0 point was. Period. So beyond India is a melanated country, but let's not just stay there.
Yes, wow.
Going. I'm sorry. We go. I don't want to.
No, I love it. I love the talk of 0. We should do a whole show just talking about 0 itself, because that takes us to the back, full circle to what I said. We can talk about what's on the surface, and which is mainstream empirical evidence. What he said, 1 to 10, and then we can also juxtapose that against what you teach and what Mansa Hercules teaches, and Dr. Phil Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, and we could talk about the what's more to it. So I would love to do that. I would love
what's so funny, Nepal, that Chaldeans have 1 to 8 in their system, right? And
oh wow,
Pythagorean has 1 to 9. But did you know the Nigerian system has 1 to 0? It's the numerology system that was passed down from generation to generation.
And you make me think of the that's in the code, right? With the 0, 1 with the wow.
But in numerology, 0 is the feminine, 1 is the masculine. So 0 and 1 is gonna make something.
Exactly. I always think of 0.
Produce.
And 0 is the egg. 0 is the egg. It's and then of course the phallus would be the 1.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And then a 9 is both of them joined together. We gotta go, y'all. This is too much. It's too much.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Peace and love. It's a pleasure. It was an honor. Thank you. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and you can see your way out. Much love to you, King Simon. It's always a pleasure. Thank you. And yes, there you have it for your weekend. This turned out to be a great stream. I love it. Thank you so much for the audience being present. And I will leave you with just all of that. I won't even add anything else. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Until next time, let's see, what am I going to play? I won't play I usually, you know what? I don't have to play a song. I don't always have to play a song. If you guys don't want to hear one, yeah, I'll leave it without a song because that was just too awesome. It was just great. Not that the songs aren't awesome, but peace and love to everyone who's here, who joined in, listened. Peace to the darkest minds of the light. Peace to King Simon's audience. Mansa Hercules audience, and of course, all of it together is the House of Consciousness, Sonnetter Studios audience. Because you know, Sonnetter birthed us all, so we got to give him his flowers. But let me go ahead and end this, and you guys head over there if you want to hear about basketball. It probably went from basketball to talking about the Bible, to be honest, knowing Sonnetter. He probably started out talking about March Madness and the basketball, and he's probably right now about this time on the third hour mark, arguing about if God is evil. So going over there and watch his stream if you'd like. If you're not going to, though, have a great evening. Have an awesome weekend. Peace and love. Peace, Suntan.